Hello there, everybody, and welcome to part 2 of my Titanic 112th anniversary special. As I kept my promise a few days before, I would stream on April the 13th, the day before the actual tragedy itself. Now, as you know, tomorrow will be a historic day. As part of the tradition, we all have to gather to remember the RMS Titanic and the lives that were lost and those that survived on that cold, tragic night. It really is, something that it doesn't seem to let go of us on. And as a precaution, it's just something that, it really brings home the truth of the tragedies of what happened on that night. No matter how many times the story is retold, it is always reminding that no matter what happens, regardless of how humans can be, regardless of the technology and everything that we try and do to make things safe out at sea, you know, there's always a chance of a disaster to happening, And the Titanic was a very classic example of what could happen when man gets too full of himself, believing so much on the technology that would have kept us safe. And yet, there was so much that happened in 1912. There was a lot of faith in human technology that we were making back in those days. Here we are in 1912, and the year is like promising us that a lot of great things to achieve for mankind were going to happen. And it did seem like that had been the case. But once Titanic struck that iceberg at 11:40 p.m. and went down within a matter of just 2 hours and 40 minutes, well, and the loss of life that followed, it just goes to show that not everything could be achieved. Not everything can be successful. And of course, man learned on that day that we were not able to master or conquer over nature. Bigger didn't always mean better. And that is a classic meme that is known to this very day. Sometimes building bigger things for the best doesn't always work out. Well, Dingo, you know for a fact the Titanic is going to be reborn because there will be a working replica in a few years' time. So, in a way, Titanic is being reborn in a new body. Just think of it that way. It might not be the original, but at least it will have a new lease on life, and it's a reincarnated style, as I like to say. But anyways, guys, like I said, it really is a big deal for this event. And I'm telling you, it really is going to be something. I really do think it's going to be something. I mean, we even have a new Titanic that is scheduled to happen within the next couple of years because it's going to be something, history in the making. It's just, I really do find it to be a really, really big historic deal when it happens, because all of us are going to be there when we see it happen live on TV. We'll see the new Titanic sail, and that journey will be completed. What should have been done 112 years ago, and I think it's going to be a blast. Heck, I'm going to do what I can to be there, to be a part of history. I'm sure some of you guys are thinking the exact same thing as well. It's going to be a real big deal. Just to see if I can get somebody else to join with us as well. It's really is history in the making. Oh, I can see some other guys have decided to pop in with us now. That's really good. Here a train master. Oh, hey, Eric Thompson. Welcome in.
Hello, Kane Fan 701.
Welcome back. I'm glad that you made it in this time early. At about 4 minutes and 25 seconds in, you've joined us this time, so you've made it, and as I knew you would.
Yep, like I promised.
And like I promised too. Even though I'm rushing around like crazy, I've had a very busy day, But right now, I'm apologize if I feel a little bit tired. Oh, my jaw. It's because I've been up early as well. And been helping all day. So I've had a busy one. So pardon my French for my yawning, everybody. But like I said, I'm doing it a bit earlier. And of course, I'll be podcasting later on with another stream with somebody else later on afterwards. So I'll do my best to make it as good as possible. Again, like I've said, I've been a big Titanic fan since 1996. An old school buff, if you know what I mean. Well, those who kind of split between the reality and the love fantasy. Yes, Diego, I can see you. I can see you waving me. That's fine. And I know everybody wants to be all part, but not everybody can be, can join at the same time. Oh, and Brian Gunn decided to jump in with us too. Good timing.
Hey guys.
Hey, Brian Gunn. What a
Hello
pleasure
there,
to see
Brian.
you on my show.
Well,
Nice to see you.
nice to see you.
Well, like I said, man, every year at this time of the of April, I always do my Titanic streaming, and I do the pre-streaming either before on the day, and then I do this one as the official. I'm just doing it a day earlier this year because I'll be up and about tomorrow until hopefully about roughly about 2:30 in the morning, because that's the night time when Titanic hit the ocean floor. So I do this on every day of the tradition, even though
a long fall from the world above.
Yes, I know that was a reference to the movie, which I'll be watching tomorrow. Because at the moment, I'm currently watching the original Night to Remember, that the one that was inspired by that what James Cameron would make it later on, which is why there are some scenes that do sound very similar.
Speaking of the 1987 film, I'm going to watch that tonight.
Well, you mean the 97 James Cameron?
Yes.
Oh, okay then. Because I always watch it. I always make decisions on what film I watch each year, depending on what it is. But I'm deciding to watch this one a bit earlier because I'm watching. I'm in Titanic mode already at this point. So
one of the older films.
Yeah, well, that's what keeps the magic alive. I mean, some of the modern day ones are good in their own ways, but you can't beat the classics. Like A Night to Remember, that was done in 1958, and then you have Titanic in 97 and the 96 one. And despite the other ones had their own flaws and everything, they were good. Besides the one that was done in 1943 during World War II, which we will know never, which this is a film we do not speak of.
Oh, well, I'm going to say this right now. In my opinion, nothing can beat the 1997 masterpiece.
Indeed, because at the time, that many of us felt that's what it was like when you were there back in, and despite we've seen it, there's actually a new one that's just came out, There's a new one that just came out just yesterday.
A new documentary?
Yeah, something called I'm just looking at my Discord at the moment. One of my buddies just sent me it, apparently. The latest film of Titanic just came out on April 12th, just yesterday, called Unsinkable
I
Titanic
see
Untold.
Oh.
And I have no idea who's filming in that one, and I don't know if Captain Smith's in that one either. But it does look quite intriguing. Oh, and Thomas R. Studios has joined in the call as well. Yes, tomorrow will be 112 years, but we're celebrating it here on my stream a little bit earlier this year because obvious reasons.
All right. Oh, and speaking of Captain Smith, I'm going to say this. My favorite portrayal of him is the 1997 one with Bernard Hill.
Well, yes, Bernard Hill definitely was good. But the one in 1958, that one even looks almost identical to the real one himself.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, that does make sense.
That's why 1958 and 1997's Titanics definitely, to this day, are the best ones that were ever made at that point.
Interesting.
Despite the fact there were a lot of errors in some of them, but at least they were good as they were anyways.
Well, I mean, the 1997 one, it was a James Cameron movie.
Hey, lads, as you can tell, I'm in captain mode at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Although one of the criticisms I heard, like a few mistakes in the 1987 film, is that some of the characters that were used in the movie, they had other actors from other countries. Like John Jacob Astor was played by a German actor, and I really don't know why they did that, because even though he was supposed to be American.
Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, when they made the movie Michael Collins, they didn't use a single person from the Republic of Ireland.
Which was a bit unusual.
Well, they did get Liam Neeson in it, so.
Well, you needed. Well, we had to try and find. We had to find people that knew you had to have that 1912s look, which would have matched them in the photos or whatever. But not everybody matched them almost in the real thing. But You know, as long as they had the right costumes, the right historical looks. But some of them had, but some people would try and find actors who almost look like the real ones themselves, almost.
Well, that's
Which
true,
which
and
can.
for Thomas Andrews, I think despite Victor Garber being Canadian, I think Victor Garber did a great job in portraying Thomas Andrews.
Oh, we did. The same guy who actually narrated in Titanic, remembered in the 1998, Beyond Titanic in 1998, which was to me one of the best documentaries of all time. That was just only a year after the movie came out, and of course, we would learn all the other
Oh yeah,
films that were made and how it all started just after the sinking and how it grew from there, which was really, really good. You know, it even had the cameo of Raise the Titanic in there, which I thought was a nice added touch. Which is all. Now I know a lot of people can say what they say about that movie, but to me, Raise the Titanic, in my opinion, it shares the same spot with James Cameron, in my opinion, because of me being a Titanic buff and everything, because of how realistic the ship looked, you know. And of course, it was also the first modern day movie of a Titanic film, if you look from it from a modern day perspective, because all the films we'd seen had been about the maiden voyage and the sinking, and this was about a modern day variation of Titanic in the early 80s, at the beginning of the 80s at the time, based on the best author Clive Cussler himself, you know. So
Clive
that's
who?
just how I.
Well, Clive who? Well, Clive Cluster.
Clive Cussler.
Clive Cussler, the man who made Dirk Pitt, his fanfic character, and at the time when he made his third novel, Raise the Titanic, is what made him a household name, and since then he never looked back, and he became famous for it. And at the time, finding and raising the Titanic was the big dream that everybody was hoping for, and it came out in 1976 or 77, and since then he never looked back, and it became his best-selling novel to this very day, and Hollywood came in and they made a good ton of money out of it, but it became an absolute box office bomb at the release. But as far as I was concerned, I loved it for what it was, because it was in my opinion, they had groundbreaking stuff that had never been done before in a modern day film, and this was just the beginning of the 80s. Keep in mind, because this movie came out in the same year that Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back came out in 1980, ironically enough, just 4 or 5 years before the real one, or the real Titanic, was even discovered. So how incredibly close the real fictional film and the real discovery almost came to fruition.
Oh, and speaking of Titanic documentaries, I saw one last night on Smithsonian Channel called Titanic's Final Mystery, which came out in 2012.
Oh, the Final Mystery. I remember that one. There was also one called. There's also Titanic: The Final Secret as well, which is how did Bob Ballard actually find Titanic, which I thought was very interesting. So I learned this real secret of Bob Ballard's mission, how he found it.
Ooh.
And then you had then probably the best one that had Titanic in as well, one of the greatest ones, because the soundtrack was called Lost Liners, which was filmed in 2000, which featured Titanic, the Lusitania, and bizarre and strangely of all ships, the Empress of Ireland, which was a very intriguing twist of fate, and it really had a really good backstory on it, That's another thing, guys. Yeah, Jay and I know he wanted to come in, but people keep asking me constantly, like, legit like that, then you're not going to join my streams. That's just how it works with me.
Unfortunately, I don't have any Titanic plans this year. What'd you say?
Eric, so what I'm saying is that patience and understanding is the solution.
Indeed. Patience is a virtue.
Exactly. And so is understanding.
Oh, God. The Titan submersible. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Terminator Fan 84. I think I've seen him somewhere. Long time no see, pal. Welcome aboard. If you want to join in, we've got plenty of room. And I ain't talking about a stream in a lifeboat, okay? Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I do have a bit of a sense of humour. I try and time it at the right moments.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has a good sense of humor. Well, almost everyone. Some can have a good sense of humor.
In this day and age, I mean, people do get carried away with the idea that we're just having fun and everything. We're not being too serious. Like, I wasn't being serious. I just tried to a little spice up with some humour. Anyways, like I said, I've got a night swim we're watching at the moment because so I'm streamlining and watching, so I'm multitasking. So I do apologize if you do see different expressions or whatever, because it's just very classic. Despite that's what my fanfic on Titanic's been as well, which a lot of fans dislike. Some like it because I turn it into an anime. Of course, Barco knows what I'm referring to as well. And by the way, Brian, thanks for fabbing on my DA, by the way, with the new CSW images I've got as well. And
No problem.
I did say Yossi would be in the stories, and I've got more to come very soon. But at the moment, I've been having writer's block. I've been caught with a lot of stuff, so I haven't been able to get into the thick of things. I've been trying to deal with some Titanic stuff as well, and it's been difficult because time's just been flying too fast. I'm hanging out with my parents more often, helping them out when I need to.
That's understandable.
Yeah, me personally, I don't have any Titanic plans tonight. Something more pressing came up.
How was that then? What happened?
I got tickets to see a wrestling match.
Oh, so you're going to a WWE event or an independent wrestling
No, one of the
show?
smaller ones.
Oh, you're going to an independent wrestling event.
Yeah.
Congrats. Well,
Thanks.
I hope you have
Interesting.
if you get your camera or whatever, hopefully you take some good photos and whatever the case may be, and you can tell me about it maybe, I don't know, maybe the day after or so, because I'll be in Titanic mode tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I hope you have a great time when you get there.
I hope so too.
Well,
I remember the last time I went to one of those independent ones.
Yeah,
Something happened that never happens at any of the WWE shows.
Well, if it happened in WWE, you have what they call house shows when they're non-live, so you can think of that as an independent thing on a big scale.
Yeah.
Which are even better.
At one of those independent shows, I saw an announcer get into the ring, and he won the tournament.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like I go to local ones up the road, or my last independent major one was a few years back. But I go to the one nowadays, if I do, which are just a few blocks up the road because I do them in local sports clubs. That's what they're called, local events, what we say here in England.
Oh, you go to local sports clubs, Kane fan?
Yeah, they go small. They're like held in clubs and like in discos or whatever. That's what they're called, local wrestling shows. But they're very tiny.
What kinds are your favorite?
Ours are very small, but the talent is very good. I mean, it can be a bit annoying with the kids in there and being all loud, but I can understand that. But the fact is, I'm very, quote unquote, as Undertaker would say, I'm very old school. I try and watch the matches, and to see how the story plays out. You know what I mean? I'm not there to just to yell and let myself be heard, let them smart, because all that ruin it. Like, I try and pay attention to the story in the ring and see how it goes, and then eventually I just skate into the hit of it because of how enjoying the match is. Like, if you get that's just how it goes for me. That's just how I grew up with it. I just see how the guys go, and then whoever goes wins me over. Sometimes it just happens that way with me.
And my thing is, a lot of the smaller matches I feel a little less scripted.
That's what I mean. It looks like it's scripted, but sometimes I'm thinking, was that scripted? Did that happen? Was that supposed to happen? Because I don't know. So I don't believe in the whole thing that not everything is scripted. Especially I just feel like the guys call the spots backstage or what they're going to do, so I know they're in safe hands. But how do I know? Like, wrestlers I don't know of, they come out and,
because they're not making millions off of it. They, if they go off script, they don't get paid. No chance. But they're not fighting for millions, so a lot more likely to go off script.
Well, you never know. They can do something if they have something going on to make it historic. It can happen sometimes. You know, it just happens. I feel like some things can be scripted if they get a certain spot in there, but the rest of it doesn't have to be. If you know what I mean. If they build it to a moment, then that can be scripted. If they're doing like a wholly, you know what moment, or they're going to do something or whatever. Because some of the events I've been to, they are good, but sometimes they can get into a bit of a brawling scenario, where it's more safer in a controlled environment, which is fine with me. But it works. It's always worth it in the end. Because some of the events I go to aren't always, not always related to family quote unquote entertainment. It looks real enough. Despite some of the gimmicks look cartoony and some a bit, but I always feel like when the bell rings, it gets, it's real. Especially when it gets deep into the match. Especially when you have a championship on the line. That's when it gets really intriguing.
Yeah.
Oh, David Holmes
well,
here.
The last show I went to,
hi David. Nice to see
one of the wrestlers actually landed in the crowd. So.
Oh, that's something. Oh boy. Oh,
none of the fans that were hit were complaining though. So.
I don't know. Oh, Sasha was here with us too. I just saw him then brief. I was going to pop him in then to join in. I was like, oh, long time no see.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was good. It was nice to see Sasha in for a while. Hey, Cam, the K2. Nice to see you too. Yep, it's definitely good to see some old familiar friends coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, this is the thing I've been having since 2012. It's the closest. It's the closest to what my OC character looks like in my fanfic. In case you were wondering, Eric.
Oh,
I was just talking to you there by your first bit there and your name there.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, here's my Titanic captain's hat. This is what I'll be wearing tomorrow.
Oh, where'd you get that hat from?
Well, there's your answer. I got it from Belfast.
Oh, Belfast. Yeah.
From the
Belfast,
museum.
Ireland.
And it basically still fits in my head over a decade later. My ex-girlfriend bought it me.
It was a nice museum, I have to say.
Yeah, my first time there, did I break down into tears at the end. I didn't want to leave. Felt like I was there. Felt like I could see Titanic.
Unfortunately, I didn't have that experience. I was sick at the time, so.
But it's going to be good because I would love to go back for a second visit and see what's new because I know they've done some upgrading there since. So.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for you to go out there than it is for me. So.
Well, yeah, I have to cross over the Irish Sea to get there first.
Yeah, and I had to go across the entire Atlantic Ocean. So.
Well, you know what I mean. And the Irish Sea is rough to get through, so I wouldn't want to get seasick and just vomit on Belfast shore.
Well, that'd be in the spirit of the Titanic.
Well, I guess so. To make it a challenge, I guess. Oh, James Jupiter is here as well. Hi, Morale. You can see there.
Man, it looks like lots of people are coming on the YouTube chat.
Yeah, but that's good for us 6 popping in because there's different times. People pop in, some will come out. I don't even know who's watching because it doesn't tell me who in the iBox. That's just how it is. Yeah. Oh, I see. So it is temporarily closed, but at least the museum will still be around. Oh, hey, Sasha will be back with us in a bit, but I may have to cut down afterwards. So, like I said, because some of my mates will let me know what's going on, I got to pop in to see because he's filming for his wrestling fantasy show, the one that you're a part of, Brian. The one because you missed my show. You missed my show, Fortunate Sons. It's just got uploaded this morning, so you can watch it and see what's happening, so you can catch up because you have missed out on a lot of good fun. Trust me, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, schedules and everything. Every time it's a show, I actually end up falling asleep because of the time zone differences.
Well, you might as well one day if you can. Trust me.
Yeah. I have been trying.
Well, you can. If you missed it, you can always rewatch it in the end afterwards. So it's no gloom and doom. It's just that you've missed the commentary, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But then again, rewatching it helps you catch up. So it's not always doom and gloom.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, though half the time I'm watching it, I'm like, tag me in and I'll show them what the Gaelic Grizzly can do.
All right. What the? Oh, jeez, and the lifeboat just got flipped over. Despite they got that wrong in the movie, it was supposed to be the lifeboat on the other side that went down first, and the other one flipped over afterwards.
Are you talking about the collapsible boats?
Yeah, and in 1958, they showed the first one that flipped over first, and then the other one went down afterwards. They got that wrong. It's supposed to be the other way around.
Oh, like how do you describe that?
You know, like they got the first one down like in 1997. They showed the first collapsible going down, and it landed upright, and the other one landed upside down afterwards. So here in the 1958 adaptation, they got it back to front. You know, they did the other one flipping over first, and then, you know, that was just how it was.
So you're saying did the 1987 film get it right or the 58 film?
I think 97 got it right. That's how I remembered it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the James Cameron one. You know it's going to be a good movie because it's James Cameron. He doesn't attach his name to shit.
You know, well, yeah.
He doesn't. He's a master. Oh, yeah. Titanic is definitely...
Yeah. I've always said if he can do one with Titanic, imagine if he could have done one with the Britannic, you know? I mean, it would have been nice. Bring Titanic's twin sister to the big screen.
Oh, yeah. And besides, the Olympic, and like I said, James Cameron's Titanic is a masterpiece. Oh, hey, Cam.
Yes, it is.
Hey, Cam.
Hey, nice to meet you guys. Hey, lovely to meet you guys. Indeed. I did not know you usually stream them these days. I would have joined earlier.
That's all right, because that's what I do nowadays since I've been semi-retired for a long time. I don't have many projects to work on. I'm very limited in voice acting nowadays because of obvious reasons of what happened in my personal life and in the Tom's community, which is it's not quite fun to talk about. You know, losing a lot of friends I was close with. I've had to rebound. I've had to move on. It's
I think you were mentioning. I think you mentioned that to us in an earlier in your last stream that you did.
Yeah, when I wasn't on live, because I didn't want to talk about it here or whatever, because others could take advantage and steal my stream and use it to, do wrong. So I don't want to make that mistake.
Like I said,
again.
I'm definitely not one of those people.
Yeah, I did give up on a lot of them, but eventually I just wanted to, for those who will listen, I'll just make peace and move on if they want to. But, just the way how I am, But in any case, streaming is what I do nowadays to try and keep myself going. And I've just and no joke, I've just hit 18,000 K subscribes on my channel.
That's awesome. Oh, Brian's got a guest with him.
Oh, I didn't know you had your pet dog.
Oh, he had a dog with him.
Oh, okay, so
That's nice.
He really doesn't like leaving my side.
well, he likes you though.
Yes, he does.
Looks like he's just waking up.
It's almost like in a strange way. It was like he's happy. There,
He is happy.
I can tell. You look so. Oh well, I guess he can hear us then. Or for a second, I thought he was going to get the camera then.
Well,
Christ.
maybe he is.
Oh, I guess he can hear us. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's. Yeah, it seems like he's hot and bothered.
That's nice.
I also got a breed that was responsible for rescuing a couple people on the Titanic.
Yes, indeed. Again, Cam K2, it's good to see you again. I thought I recognised who it was, and I was like, I wonder who I think that could be. And it was nice to hear from you again after a long time.
Yeah, believe me, I know you might have not done this. I have been subbed to you for a very long time until you started streaming and stuff. I was like, well, maybe I might join one of the streams sometime, and then maybe I might be able to actually talk to him, and, well, here I am, so maybe this is the good enough chance to do it.
Well, again, you did it on the exact way you did it on the day before Titanic's 112th anniversary. I know. I have been streaming long before this, but I tend to do this now on when I need to and when I'd like to, like on Bonfire Day or on day before Christmas or anything that's historic, and I like to share it. This is what I tend to do.
Right.
And you got a glimpse of
alright,
the
well,
Gaelic
listen to that
grizzly
now.
with his sidekick, the mashed tater.
Oh, I think I know where that
Mashed
came
tater.
from.
Oh. I think I know that came from.
Hmm.
Well, he looks like a pile of mashed potatoes, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, your dog. Right, because he's a big one.
He's my small one.
Oh, big, big
Wait,
yet
that's your
small.
small one. Now I'm scared to see what the big one looks like.
Oh boy. Why am I getting Why am I getting a? Oh, that's your big one. Oh,
Oh.
Okay. Alright. Oh, okay.
and he's
That's
big,
definitely
big
understandable
stuffy
now.
though. He seems very quiet.
He's actually still technically a puppy.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Yep. Almost finished growing.
Yeah, one of my mates just saw me on my email. He's just called me Captain Glenn Kane Barker. Oh, hey Bradley. Oh, look, else is joining us, Brian. What's his name? He's here with us. Hello there, Bradley.
So what's going
Hey,
on,
Bradley.
Glenn? Or should I say Captain Smith?
Yeah, Captain Kane Smith. That's most of his names.
Hey,
Well,
that's the
Captain
one who went down with the ship.
Well, Captain
that's
Smith,
fine.
I do have to get going. I got a match to go see.
Well, hope you have a good time with the wrestling
Bye,
event,
Brian.
Brian.
Bye.
When you
See
come
you
back,
guys later.
Have a good time,
now.
mate.
Hopefully I will, and I will take pictures.
Take pictures and get some good ones, and then see who was on the show and who was in the main event and who was the current champ, regardless of whoever it was. So have a good time, Brian.
I will. See you guys later.
Ciao.
See you, old chap.
You mean
Arthritis, no. He's an alcoholic.
No. Fair enough, then. Oh God. I do apologise about that if you just heard that, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, who was that?
I think
Aaron.
Bradley knows.
Oh,
Your mom's still in, you know?
Yeah. Sorry about that, lads. I mean, because your dad's a little bit, as usual, Mum is just having a moment again, and just kind of killed off my Titanic moment there. So just bear with me, guys. That was embarrassing. I know you heard that.
It is what it is.
Oh, it is.
no, it's
I
all right.
said I was
It's
too
all right.
wrapped up in my own thing and
Hey, it's alright, man.
I'm just
Stuff
repeating
happens.
what Mum just said. It's part of my French. It's kind of pissing me off. You know?
Oh,
Hell, be thankful that you still got yours because in August it'll be 13 years since my mom passed away. So
Yeah, I get it, but she just said she wish for one bill or whatever. She's talking around. Oh, God. Guys, this is the reason why sometimes streaming is never good. When that happens, it really brings out the other side of me that a lot of
well,
people.
let's not go there.
I know, but I'm trying not to. But it's my emotion, okay? Just feel ridiculous, you know. I'm not wrapped up in my own, you know, Titanic fantasy or whatever the case may be. It's just I'm just showing my respect. I'm just being who I am.
Exactly.
and that's
And hanging
good.
with
That's
you
what you're
guys.
doing.
Yeah, that,
Yeah, and it's not like I'm not giving a damn about my. Now I know my mum's not well and everything, and she just like went off on one, you know, and just gave me that look, you know, wishing she wasn't even here. You know, she says this every time, and I'm sorry I'm leaking this live, guys, but it is what it is. That's why a lot of
Be
people.
careful.
No, it's understandable.
yeah, right. It is what it is, though. As you said, though. It's what it is, though.
I know, but it's just.
Is what it is and be what it be.
Yeah, that's the reason why, you know, I find it difficult. One of the reasons why I tend to suffer in my socializing and why I appear to be a very downcast person. See what I mean? This is why my quote unquote autism is now kicking in.
All right, let's focus on the bit at hand, shall we?
I'm trying to, Bradley. I'm trying to. Like I said, when it comes to like that on the Titanic month and everything, it's never that easy for me to kind of swerve back in that direction because I take that very personally.
Indeed. Hard to recover from that.
Yeah, I'll be with. By the way, Bradley, I'll be with Carl Dunn the lights later on. You know, when he told me when we do after this whole streaming. So far, so
Yeah.
good. All right.
Nah, I'll probably be popping in and out since I am on duty today.
That's all right then. Anyways, Tony, if you want to join in with us as well, you can. There's plenty of room left. I'll just send the invitation again in case you haven't seen the link. There we go. Like I said, it's a big deal. If anybody wants to pop in, they can. I've only got room for about 2 more.
Oh yeah, because I
Yes.
saw in stream
Max
chat some of my
6
streams that I attended, they have capacities of 6 people.
Yeah, I don't do the one where you.
Well,
I just go the right way.
unless
yeah.
you yeah, that's unless you have premium. That is, you can have up to 10 people. But
I know.
I've done that once.
It says monitor a game entertainment remembers my Titanic fanfic. Yes, that was a night to remember. The very same one. Oh, he's popped in right now, so there is
Indeed.
plenty of. Oh, I think I know who that could be. Let me have a look. It's Diamarkea. Oh, that's his actual name. Just looking in to see who it is, and I recognise who it could be. I've popped him in. Welcome on board, boy. So I see you.
Titanic fanfic you made? Well, night to remember. Oh,
That was my.
That's me. I got ahead.
Okay, Brian. I mean
I've
Bradley.
been thinking. I've been studying Titanic since I was a young lad here
so
in
you
America.
remember nice. So you remember
7-day transatlantic crossing from Liverpool to New York on average. But it's 4.5 days with the Cunard Greyhounds, right?
Yeah, that was Lusitania and the Mauritania.
The blue ribbon holders.
Yes, they
But the
were.
Olympic class trio were the largest in the world.
Yeah, speed was not everything but the White Star. It was about luxury and power and size. You know, and to give
Well, I've
people
been thinking, what if when Robert Barrow found Titanic, what if he found the wreck intact and upright, and the damage from the iceberg was the same damage we saw that they thought before scanning the wrecks for damage, and they actually raised the wreck the same way they did in the movie, raised the Titanic.
Well, it would be quite cool if Titanic had been found intact and raised.
But the salvage operation will probably be the most expensive one at the time. Probably more expensive than that of that Italian cruise ship in Italy, right?
Let's not put the Costa Concordia in a line with Titanic. That's one of those things I do not even focus on, even though it was like a modern day Titanic disaster. But at that point, back in 2011, I wasn't a big fan of modern day cruise ships because they don't look like vessels, and of course, most of the time they're just
I agree, but
blocks.
if they actually raised Titanic, would RMS Titanic Incorporated be charged with raiding a graveyard? If they raised the entire ship back up?
Well, like I said, Titanic is a graveyard for those who didn't survive. But like I said, building a new one, being a full working replica of it, would be the best way of it, in my opinion.
But if they raised the wreck, how would people react? Mainly the survivors that are still alive at the time of the salvage operation.
Oh, it would be mixed reactions. Some would be a blessing. Some would be, for the historians, like, gosh, we'd be happy.
PTSD for some of them?
Yes, it would. For me, if it had happened, I would have been overjoyed. It was like, it's glad that we've saved.
Raising the White Star flag on the jackstaff, like in the movie, will probably be the biggest moment.
Yeah, that would be our way of, if that had happened, that would be our way of honoring.
Probably they still had enough coal to get to New York, so they'll probably send some men aboard to light up the furnaces and power up the engines once again, right?
I don't think the stuff in tow would have survived. I don't think it would have. I mean, just towing it away, would have worked like in the movie. That's what they would have done. In any cases, like I said, it's going to be a big deal tomorrow. Like I said, I'm trying to get back into Titanic mode again.
Just imagine if you're on the ship that night. How would you feel?
Well, in my Titanic fanfic, as you know, because I'm dressed up like my OC at the moment, you probably would know how I'd be reacting if I was there. Because my character acts as the co-captain, which is fictional. And of
But
course,
yeah, Jack and Rose from the film in the fanfic showing them in collapsible D in your fanfic.
yeah, mine barely made it through, and then eventually, of course, like I said, it's like an anime variation of Titanic with all the films combined. So in any cases, Eric and Cam K2 and the others who are watching this, I do apologize for earlier on. I'm just saying, I'm just embarrassed, okay?
It's okay.
It's all right. It's all right. No worries.
Well,
It's
that's
all right,
a
Keen
big Lego Titanic. Set number 3182.
Whoa.
That you had
Uh-huh.
fun building
How
that,
long is that
baby.
thing?
Yeah, the official Lego set.
You were lucky
How
you,
long
you
is
got
it?
one. I've got a modern day version of Titanic, but carries modern lifeboats and it has wheels underneath so you can drag it. As if you would. Oh,
Like, how expensive would Titanic's salvage operation be if the ship was found intact and raised back up to the surface?
Honestly, don't know.
Probably in the billions. Probably it'll be more expensive than the most expensive one ever done so far.
yeah,
Probably
sure.
Titanic salvage will be the most expensive in history, right?
Yeah.
Sending
Well, I was gonna
say,
submersibles
how
down to
long
the
is-
wreck to patch up the iceberg damage, then bringing tanks down to
Oh.
the wreck
Oh, it
and
looks like
filling the ship with air to send her back up. Probably they will have seen the foremast appear first, like in the film. They see a big wave as the ship bursts through the water, right?
There's one thing I will say, Eric. There's one thing in the film I've noticed. When Captain Smith meets his end, I still feel like out of all the other films, the adaptations, they were so quick and easy. But I feel like in this one, in 1958, where he gets that on that megaphone and he yells out, abandon ship, every man for himself, when he's yelling, and I'm so convinced
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why he did that noise.
In reality, he used the
yeah.
megaphone to try to call the lifeboats to come back. He tried to
did that.
order
yeah,
people
those-
to the starboard sides due to that heavy port list, but that led to more panic since the ship was listing very badly.
Yeah.
Despite the huge 300-foot long tear on the starboard side, the ship rolled to port because of Scotland Road flooding.
Yeah, even though we thought Titanic sank on an even keel, well, she'd list no more than 9 degrees, and it was
But when the
staring at us.
bridge went under, she rolled back to an even keel.
Well, because if you think about it, the guys in the bells of ships, they didn't leave their post, so I think they were trimming the ship.
They're
Trying to
doing
keep
all they
it
can
stable.
to keep the power going, too.
Right
I
to that
think
very
the moment
end.
the power failed is because one of the engineers got fatally electrocuted.
Yeah, well, we don't see that
yeah.
in
I
the
remember from
But after that, the keel still held on, but the ship continued to tilt till 45 degrees, then finally slid under.
yeah. Despite
With
the
a giant explosion occurring of steam shooting out the number 4 funnel, signaling something deep within the ship had failed.
Well, I
Probably
still-
boiler explosion in
No,
boiler room
well-
1 that's shot back
No, I
into
don't
the
think the
engine
boiler
room, then
exploded.
up the ventilation shafts and
Well,
out the number 4 funnel.
Well, we don't get to see that
That-
in the film or whatever because I mean the only time
Where
we saw
she's going.
where in Titanic, well, there was the only time we saw Titanic's last funnel blow up was in the 1953 adaptation when it sank very rapidly and then just kind of.
That's what I'm
blew in
talking
it.
about. Like after the power failed, I think by that point the emergency dynamos would have kicked in, keeping a few lights glowing as the ship
Well,
reared up.
Yeah, well, like I said,
Then-
in 1953, that model of Titanic in the original Hollywood film, the very first one that made Titanic's debut into the spotlight of Hollywood, that model is actually still with us, and sometimes you can ask the guy who has it to light it up, so it's still here.
So
even after
the moment
70
Titanic's
years
power
later-
failed, her steam dynamos had kept the emergency lights going, right?
Yeah, probably would have done. Yes, Eric, what were you saying?
Even after 70 years, that model is still there, Kane fan?
Yeah, from what I can tell, it's still there. It's
Did you
in,
know
and-
that Titanic was released in theaters on the 41st anniversary of the sinking in 1953?
Yes, it
in
was.
April?
Hold on,
Yeah, it was. Ironically
hold on,
enough,
I'm gonna take a look at that.
you can. It's actually if you just type in the model of Titanic's model of 1953, you will find two.
I've been
rare
finding
photos.
pictures of it sometimes.
It's there.
Found it,
I
and-
think it's
Yep, that's confirmed.
On the way
Yep,
they
I
have
saw it.
Olympic
April
speed deck on the
16th,
model.
1953.
and it's still in good
Oh, yeah, I saw
condition
it.
from what.
On the way,
Thanks.
they used Olympic speed deck from 1911 on that model.
They did a really good job on it, despite the fact, they didn't use a real. It's funny how they didn't actually use an actual live vessel in 1953, but it was good to see an actual,
I've been thinking, what if the Aquitania was scrapped instead of Olympic in the 1930s? Would Olympic live up to the Second World War as a troop ship?
I think possibly it would have done, but at the same time, I'm not so sure if it could have done. It's a mixed.
After the war, if she was used for the film Titanic in 1953, she'd probably be used for interior shots, and they use a Titanic model for exterior shots. So the thinking, right?
Yes, but listen, we don't talk about the 1953 Titanic film because that was filmed during the war, and then it was done for a propaganda
That
film.
was after the war. The film came out after the war.
No, the 1953 one, yes, but I thought you were referring to the one that was being played in the.
I'm talking about after the war had ended. Hollywood, California used the Olympic as a stand-in for Titanic.
Okay,
for the interior scenes.
If that works, if for faraway distance shots or whatever filming on the original, that probably would have worked for Olympic.
But the exterior shots are done with a Titanic model from Holland and Wolf.
Putting away from the actual. That would have worked. That would have worked nicely.
That means they actually showed the actual interiors of the Olympic class ships.
Yeah.
Same thing when the UK used Olympic in the Titanic film A Night to Remember in an alternate timeline, right?
Yes, sort of, yeah.
Olympic weapon used for a stand-in for her sunken sister Titanic, right?
Indeed. She would have done.
That means I've been thinking.
Indeed. Ashton makes a good point.
I've been thinking about something.
All right,
if we were to time travel back in time to 1935 and bribe the Cunard White Star Line to spare Olympic from the scrapper's torch and sell Aquitania instead for scrap and restore Olympic to a full working condition for another few decades, because ocean liners, cargo ships, and cruise ships tend to last 40 years of service, right?
Well, cargo vessels last more longer than you think.
But the Olympic was cut short of 16 years because she was sold to the junkyard. So if the Aquitania had that fate while Olympic was saved, would she be able to survive the Second World War?
Possibly would have been. There's a good chance.
Probably because of the reciprocating engines being more reliable, they would have restored her back to her former glory.
It would have done. Sorry,
that
Mike,
means she would have returned to service in 1938, 1 year before war broke out, right?
That's right.
And after the war, that means in 1946, which is 1 year after the war, she'll be restored back to commercial service, right?
Be right back, guys.
The old reliable.
Well, that's
then Hollywood gets interested in using her for a Titanic film titled Titanic, releasing in April of 1953.
Montoya, I was in the middle of saying something.
Yeah.
I actually I just looked it up for the 1953 film, and actually you guys are right. It actually did came out around the anniversary, April 16th, 1953.
I mean, it's the day after Titanic went under in 1912. That's when the newspapers started to appear.
Yep, the day after the 41st anniversary.
The 9th, April 14th to the early morning hours of April 15th is the time frame of the tragedy.
True.
Well, of course, Titanic was a tragedy. To be quite honest, I've always said it was a disaster that should never have happened. But if it hadn't happened, we wouldn't have this Titanic mania that we've had 112 years later.
There was no moon that night. The ocean was flat calm. There was no wind, so no waves would occur. And it was really cold that night. Right?
Hmm.
And that led to a deadly chain of events. Like the iceberg was spotted too late. They tried to turn away and close watertight doors. But they are too late on turning away and they crash. like a jagged 300-foot-long tear left in the side of the hull on the starboard side. Only 2 hours and 40 minutes till the ship goes under. It probably was
Listen,
sounded to general alarm and called for help. At the time of the collision, Captain Smith warning watertight doors closed, which Murdoch had already closed the doors, right?
Oh.
right. That's not at least from my understanding.
With the ship torn open with a massive hole, only 2.5 hours or so before she hits the bottom. And that's when they realize they have a problem, right? Damage inspections were being carried out. The crew was raiding the lifeboats and getting everyone on deck just as a precaution while the damage inspections were carried out. Around the time
Yes,
the
I
passengers were
think,
beginning
yeah.
to stir and head up to the boat deck,
I think so.
Andrews had told Captain Smith, 3 have gone already. Referring to 3 of
Yes, I
Titanic's
think.
watertight compartments being breached. Correct? Anyone there?
We're here.
Because when Andrews said 3 have gone already, that means 3 compartments
Oh.
were flooded. And
Wait a minute,
Titanic
I
would
thought
stay
you said
afloat
5
even if the
compartments
first
were
4
flooded.
were breached, while Olympic and Britannic would stay afloat even if 6 were breached as a result of the Titanic disaster, correct?
I think
Oh
what you're
god,
saying
that
is
brings us up.
true,
Yes, that's.
man.
Hang on.
My,
Sorry, Michael, but I have to cut you off for a
at least from
second.
my
I need to wrap
understanding.
it up. Sorry about that. Oh,
Yeah.
you brought back your
Yeah,
icon of
yeah,
cat.
yeah, we are.
Nice. Put your
Yeah,
Thomas
so
thing back, eh?
oh yeah. So hey, Kane fan, I actually want to tell you something. I just looked up about the 1953 film, and it was actually right. It did come out around the anniversary of the Titanic sinking in 1953.
Well, I am. Well, I knew that because the Beyond Titanic said that whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Said about him.
I remember watching your videos on
Yeah, if you see my Ghost Train films and everything that I've been doing, people, even old film guys back then are coming back and they love it, even 9 years later. And I've had just great comments, especially in the Clinsfield film, and it's just
true, at least
amazing.
from my understanding. And if you're wondering why I'm bringing back the old profile pictures that I used to have,
It does kind of gives me a bit of a chuckle, you know. Good
Cam, why are
nostalgia.
you? Is there some kind of reason why you're just doing that randomly, like changing
man,
your?
It's
it was
just for
amazing. I mean,
fun.
I watched that over and over,
Oh,
and it was just amazing. Like back then when you posted it, I couldn't really like,
You couldn't really get your head on.
I
You
know
know, I
I
know, but
couldn't really stop watching it.
and some people think it's the best thing that ever happened. You know, a lot of guys say it changed the fandom of Thomas. I wasn't intended to do that, but if
I
they
mean,
feel,
I mean, if I need to change my expression, I usually change it from time to time.
I see. So that's what you do, and I get what you're saying now. That's one way of showing emotion. That's quite cleverly done. No, Marjo, I just cut you off for a second because you were a little bit loud and a
It
bit
did.
over because I
For
couldn't hear what
sure it
Eric
did.
and Ken were
I remember
saying.
it completely.
So I do apologize, but I just thought I don't like to have loud talkers over talking everybody else.
Right.
So just
yeah,
respect
that
that.
happens.
I understand he's a Titanicist buff and he's got a good collection. That's great. He was a little bit over the top with his talking, and I will admit, I'm not trying to make you sound silly, dude. It's just the fact is that makes me realize I think you were over talking a little bit, and it felt like in the tone of your voice, man, it was like you were coming off a bit more of a, I don't know, wouldn't say it, but it's kind of like one of those people that seem to like know, but not quite, you know. That's what I mean. It felt very inconvenient. But no harm done, I'm just saying, because that's how I like my stream to be and let others have a chance to talk. And I'm just like, you know,
Yeah,
I
that
think you
actually
guys get
has
me.
happened with me too on other streams before. Yeah, that's actually happened to me before.
Hey there, Vampire Fire Ranger 98. Nice to see you. Yes, the coal theory in Titanic, I still think that played its own key role in weakening the ship. I still think that actually happened. Because I know back in 2017 there was a documentary called Titanic: The New
Yeah.
Evidence, and I feel
I
like,
do.
and I still think it did happen.
I do indeed have
Oh.
some friends that are really, really big talkers.
It's good to see that, again, it was good to see you back again, Cam, like I said. It's, at least there's a good dose of nostalgia. Yeah, to apologize if I sound a little bit bloated a little bit now because, so I'm all right now anyways.
That's good.
All right.
So again, Eric, if you want to check it out on the modeling, the 1953 model of Titanic is still here with us. I'm just surprised it
All right,
hasn't
I'm
come
gonna look
out
it up right now on
since.
my phone.
Yeah, I know. It has been a long time.
Yeah, things have changed over time though, Cam. Like I
Indeed.
said,
It has
I've
been
had to
a
change,
long time since I decided to join one of your streams.
but that's all right because there was a time where it was too crazy and being
Yeah,
a
I
bit
know.
too,
I've been many
I
times.
had to do it because of obvious reasons, because I was struggling. I'd lost friends, the fandom of Thomas had gone down the tubes, as they say, but they've made a good comeback lately, which I'm glad they did, but it just hasn't been the same since. But I'm glad to know that the worst of it, though, had ended. So I know things got better, and over time it just has been. I just feel like,
Yeah.
regardless, like there's been some of the best who have turned bad and have never come back. Some have lost their touch in the fandom, and some have just like plummeted to evil. Where guys like myself, we've been in that bridge where we've held on but never gave in, and here I am rebounding after 2.5 years. After 2.5 years of struggling, I'm back to where I am. I've had old fans come back who remembered what I was, 9 years prior. When the films came out, it's just been, good to see. I've had good comments, and that's all I've had in my films. Not once have I had any comments of,
Yeah.
bad comments like,
I've
"Oh, so this is shit," or whatever.
after like
The toxic. None of that. No drama in there at all. It's so weird. Whereas on the other social webs, they will do that, but here, not a single comment was. It was just mixed fascination, amazement, emotion, anything that you want for your audience, and it was just brilliant. Others have done remakes
right.
and respect. Some have done remakes,
Mhm.
some did their own takes, which I'm perfectly
Uh-huh.
fine with because I was just, but I have influenced people who love American railroading as well as Thomas and Friends mainly for all the right reasons. And I just feel like it's just great to know that I've
Right.
inspired, and some have gone far of calling me a legend in the industry, and some think, I've said some good strong words that have made me shed a tear a few times, which I do take with a grain of salt. I'm just glad to know that I did right. I mean, I knew what I was trying to be
Right.
different in the fandom to everybody else. It's just that those I used to be with, very little of them have remained. It's just, I'm just trying to make peace and move on with those I can be
Right.
with and
Maybe
like
I have
forgive and forget. Because at the end of the day, after
Indeed.
what's happened in the last couple of years, all of us have hurt one another, in a time
Yeah,
because
she's
that
like
was a
I
time
will.
of uncertainty, fear, and all the stuff that happened. And look at where we are
Uh-huh.
now. I'll
Indeed.
come
I've
third.
been with after watching your
Yes, Cam, you're freezing a bit.
Maybe his sound system has gone faulty a bit.
I can tell he's rewatching some of them. Like I said, it's good to know. Well, it's good to know having some old fans back and everything. I guess
sure.
some of my lads who told me were right. Give it time and everything and healing, and it just works. I
Indeed.
still feel like it works.
I
Oh,
Oh, now he's gone.
I think he hit the wrong button.
Probably did.
There's Cam. There he is.
All right,
Oh,
he's
you're right,
back.
Cam.
good.
Hope it's working now. I'm hoping.
There you go. You were gone there for a bit. I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah, me either. I'm thinking it was probably my system. But I remember me starting to lose out of the Thomas and Friends fandom a few years ago. But me just watching the things that you did with your stuff just inspired me just not to lose my hope in it. And I've just been going
Wow.
on with it ever since.
Well, you know what kept me going about it when I stayed in long for as long as I could? Because I did have hope for the fandom. I was talking about the Thomas Trains fandom is the best, safer place to be, and even that's suffering in its own. But it's great. That's what keeps me going. I watch the great ones like NWI 91, Victor Tanzik, who I'm still in contact with. Praise God, I guess. Shunter Productions. There's some of the other legends in the trains community who have helped. You know, just naming a few.
Yeah.
They kept me.
Yeah.
That's what kept me going. You know, and even the guys I voiced with, like Thomas Warner, two Henry Free, who had the utmost respect for me in the fandom because of what I was doing. You know, you have all the other guys who do redubs, you know, and there are some who I inspire still, despite there are those who don't like me. I still respect them, and they have to understand is that I'm not as bad as you might think, because I came off as a very misunderstood person, and I hate to bring that up, but I'm a good lad. It's just the fact is I may say things that don't mean to harm others. It's just the fact was I was sensitive. And I'll admit, I've come out as a very shades of grey person, but I've learned to be very regretful and remorseful. And that's how I've been since. I mean, I know I've screwed up a couple of times. Then I had a lot of drama wars on here. Like, there was one user in particular who I will never speak of because he stole all my streams. He would watch and record them over, and he was using to bash them on me. But thankfully, when when he went too far, he nearly got caught off, and eventually the fandom guys knew what they were doing, and then they bashed him out, and I was okay. I don't know if that was intentional to keep me, that I've still got friends. I have no idea, but I was just glad that ordeal was over with because I knew what I had to do. But still, I have got emotional scars that I can't recover from. Maybe physically, maybe mentally I can, but not physically. And I always believe physical is just as bad as mental. That's just how I look at life. And it's just how it is with me. But the good thing is I never gave up. And I've got friends who now I've made up with, and I try and stick with them nowadays. But even in the trains community, it is a little bit difficult because I've joined server after server only to be silently removed because they all believe what I was, I'm thinking, it's never going to work out. So I just have to stay with those who I do have. And that's the best thing I can do.
Right. I can most definitely tell.
That's all I have to do now. It's just a waiting game of whatever the case may be. But either ways,
Right.
I mean, since last year, it's been a fantastic rebound. 2022 was just fantastic. Despite having 2 heat waves that summer. And then last year was just a glorious one. Florence Scott's been away 100 years. I was there. I met up with the loco again. Spent more time hanging around, and it was just one of those. It's one of those years you get from back to back, which was a good success, and a lot of good things were happening. And this year, it just got better and better. And we're already nearly halfway through this year already. 4 months in, and I just feel like things are just getting better. Around me, I feel good. Like outside the internet, I'm fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I most definitely tell
Yeah,
you
we
that.
made through almost
I
3 out of 10 of this year, over a quarter.
Yeah, and that's
Indeed.
true.
And I did say, what happened in 2020 and 21, things were going to go, but we'll pull through. 2022, it was like, I describe it as like a reckoning of a train, like on Eric's Icon, for example. Say if Tower 25 had derailed, we were like that for a while. Then 22, we were back on the tracks. And then we started moving a little bit halfway through because obviously we came out of lockdown for so long. And then last year we got the momentum rolling. We were going at a normal pace, and then since then we've just gained momentum after momentum. I just feel like we've picked up where we left off, prior to it all, as I said. And I'm just glad things have gone as it has done. But I try and focus on where did we leave off to, and what can we do to get back to where we are, because that's where we're all still are at the moment. But I feel like
that
we're
actually
back
reminds
on.
me of some. Oh yeah, and that actually kind of reminds me of something. Like some steam locomotives, like 1225, my Icon, the United States, they sometimes go over taken out of service for a while to go under boiler inspections. They get taken out of service for a little while, and after the inspections are done, they're back on the track.
Indeed. I was talking about like from an accident type of thing in a way, like when James came off the line, he grabbed and salvaged, put back on the rails, and put back together, and he's on the move again. That's kind of like how I described what we've endured, despite we lost so many good friends or acquaintances or family members. But I wasn't too worried about
Yeah,
I wasn't too worried about that, to be honest. I was very hypothesized about it. I looked at it as a new challenge. And for those who
that's
have
the
beaten
worst.
it, like me, yeah, well, and we beat it. We're still alive. I've had everything done to me, and I'm still here. And I always said the first question that will come out of us: how did we survive the pandemic? How are we still here? Because we listened. We followed not just the rules, but we knew what we had to do. And it worked well for me. I knew exactly what I had to do. I still worry though. I may have had those who may have fallen to it. Those I could have known, or those who may have, or whatever. And I don't know if they're still here. You know what I mean? Makes me wonder if they, Good thing is though, like I said, I just feel the worst is behind us now, and we can move on to better things. We can reshape and move on to a much more peaceful environment, which is what we're struggling with at the minute. And that's where the Titanic comes into play. As you remembered, and I showed you in my last stream, the Titanic thing. I mean, we have got a little off course, but that's what happens with my streams and everything. So just bear with me on that, lads. But like I said, that's where the Titanic 2 comes into play, the brand new vessel. And Cam, if you're not aware of this, we actually do have a new Titanic on the horizon.
Oh
I
yeah,
am
remember
aware
that.
indeed.
Where shall we find?
I am on board with that. I've heard many things about that, especially from you and a few others that I've heard about that from. I am definitely aware of that we're on board with another Titanic.
Well, of course, and it's going to happen now. We can officially see the reincarnation of Titanic. I know it's not the original, but if you were to ask me, it's just a new body built for the Titanic. And when that ship comes to life, it will be basically the soul of the original come to life in a new body. I do believe in that whole rebirth and everything else. And I'm just checking on Blue Star Line at the moment. And
Blue Star Line.
that's the company that the Titanic's going to be. And you can check their site now if you type it in. On March the 23rd, I had an update. It said that Clive Palmer said his long delay on Titanic will be donated to worker politics or whatever it was he was doing. But I'm just looking at the news updates at the moment, seeing what we've got, like media release. Because I'm keeping a sharp eye. I've been watching the Titanic thing, since it happened in 2012, and I'm still keeping on it. The press plan had been designed and everything else. So far, it's so good. Oh wow, looks like Clive Palmer actually did do some more. His global design came through again, and on March on March 13th, just a month ago, the plan was relaunched, and we gathered a lot of. Oh wow, we gathered a lot of momentum. It just happened again on March 31st. Palmer says the Rolling Stone says his long delay ship will be anecdoted to work in politics. That's what he's doing. Wow, this is definitely a big deal. Like I said, he's been asking a lot of Q&As and everything, and he's done a good job. This is definitely good. He's asking a lot of Q&As and everything, and oh wow, there's definitely a lot of good stuff coming in. Well, it looks a lot like things are going to come to fruition with this whole thing. So I'm just keeping sharp tabs on this because I'm one of those very old supporters who have been around since that project started in 2012. So you can find them on their YouTube channel as well. It's going to be an historic blast. Huh.
I'll see.
Uh,
I mean, I've seen a lot, to be exact. One thing you might not know about me, that besides you also stream, and I actually stream mostly, on special occasions, just like you do, really. Sometimes I might just stream for fun, most of the time, but, I do that most of the time, just to keep myself entertained if I can't really find anything else.
Indeed. I get what you mean. That's just how I do it to keep myself going now and to show that I'm still here. Yeah, I was correct. On the 13th of March, Clive Palmer, who is Titanic 2's project leader, apparently, had revealed his relaunch of the ship, and the construction will be anticipated for about roughly 2025, about somewhere in February. And then we're looking at a 2.5-year construction, and about by June 2027, the new Titanic will set sail. So that's where we've got so far. He just hasn't figured out where it's going to be built yet. We haven't figured out
That
what
will be
shipyards.
approximately 116 years after Olympic's first voyage.
Indeed. That's quite cool. We don't know exactly what date, we know the month and the year, exactly what day. That's what I'm thinking. If it does happen on Olympic's maiden voyage, that will definitely be a nice tribute from one sibling to a brand new reincarnated version of it.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll definitely complete that story. It'll definitely complete that voyage, I meant. Okay, let me just hit my share screen up again. Oh, hit the wrong button there. As you can clearly see, here we go. Just to give you an idea, here's what Titanic's going to look like when built.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I just noticed that there's some lifeboats on the side, on the midsection.
If you know where the midsection is over here, that's actually called the S deck, which is short for safety deck. And that'll be a modern. That's going to be the modern.
Deck.
That's going to be That's going to be the modern deck, and that will house all the modern day features that we have on cruise ships. And each boat will carry 150 people. That's the maximum load of each one, and that's where everything else will be. And well, the rest of the ship, it will be exactly the same. And what's good about it, this new deck, which is the safety deck, it raises the bridge. And of course, that will help people to look over the bow, which you couldn't do on the Titanic. So the lookouts will have better visibility. So they won't use the crow's nest for anything else. But that's what again, just give you an idea. This is what Titanic will look like when she gets a new body built. I know people are thinking, why am I saying that and everything? But that's because I look at the whole thing as just basically a new rebirth for the ocean liner. Oh, look, it seems like Thomas Sonic Sandro has joined in on the fun too. I wonder if that's who I think it is. Let's see if it is who I think it is, because it could be one of my friends who I've known who does a good voice dub on Thomas, I think. Let's just see who it is.
Hi.
Hey,
Whoa.
Thomas Sonic. Nice to see you.
It's good to see you too.
I was just going to say if it's who I think it was, because I saw Thomas Sonic's fan, so I was thinking, I wonder if it's who I think it is.
Yeah, it's me.
Sound a little different, mate. You got a new microphone installed or something.
No, I have the same microphone, aka my laptop microphone. I don't usually use a separate microphone.
I see.
Oh well.
We're just celebrating the 100th and 12th anniversary of Titanic a lot more earlier, because I won't be available tomorrow.
What? When is the anniversary?
Titanic's sinking.
I said,
112 years.
112 years, yeah. Here's my icon. Shows you what it's about.
Gotcha.
That's from the 1997 film.
So far, we've done an hour and 14, nearly 15 minutes in, so we're doing very well.
75 minutes.
Really well. You look
Yeah, I've
tough
just
for
got
a
to the
minute.
bit where Cam Smith has just yelled every once every man for himself, like he's literally yelling out. I still believe that's how it unfolded
Every
as
man
well,
for
like how he yelled.
themselves.
You know, he's like, "I'll punch up every man for himself."
For
You know,
himself.
I still think that's how he yelled in reality. Like he knew the end was
Oh,
coming.
did not know. Not
Oh,
the
even
thing
you got a
was
nice dog as well. Everybody's sharing their dogs today on my streams.
German
Yeah, I
Shepherd,
have
by
a
the way.
dog.
Oh, he's turning
Yeah, I have a
around.
dog. I do have a dog and
Here
a
he
cat.
comes.
I do also have a turtle
His
as
name's
well.
Loki, by the way.
I can tell.
All black German Shepherd.
I've seen different German Shepherds, regardless, and they all look good.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen Greyhounds, I've had Jack Russells, Chihuahuas, they're all different types.
He can be a bit of an asshole sometimes.
Well, most dogs can be. Well, just keep in mind they all have their own personalities.
He barks at me every time I come into room sometimes.
That's because he's happy to see you. There's more to a dog's bark than you might think. Keep that in mind.
Not really. In my opinion, he acts more like a Bogart dog.
It could be a part of his nature. You never know.
I mean, I think from like his past before we like adopted him, he had a hard time with like other dogs fighting over food. I think.
There's one thing about the Titanic stuff is like the one thing I've noticed is how different the band plays their last hymn. Some play the autumn theme, some played two different versions of Near My God to Thee, but I always felt like the 97 one was the right one.
Oh.
And that's the bit that everybody always breaks down because they all know that's where the end is in sight.
Oh, yeah. When you hear that song Near My God to Thee play, you know that's definitely when the final moments are going to come. You know, it's actually kind of debated on like what song was played on, which was the last song played on Titanic, either Autumn or Near My God to Thee. Kane fan, I want to ask, in your belief, what do you think was the last song that was played on Titanic?
It definitely was Near My God to Thee.
You know what? Yeah, I say the same thing too.
I just wonder though, I mean, there's two different variations, but I always feel the 197 was the right one. I mean, in 1953, they were all singing, and I just felt like that didn't really happen. But I felt like that would have been definitely something to hear. But I always feel like 97 got it right.
Yeah, the 1987 one definitely got it the best.
I mean, although the one 1958, that definitely is just as almost as broken as the original. But then again, you know, that's what a lot of people were hearing. You know, I mean, if we were there, we wouldn't know which version it would have been anyway. Because all we know that the band continued to play on until ship went down. They were washed off the deck.
Yep.
You know, made their last stand, and that was it.
Don't mind my dryer making noises.
Yeah, I can't even really hear it. I'm being honest with you.
I mean, 1958. You see where Cam Smith goes. He's hearing them. He looks down. And he knows he's going to go. It's just strange that he goes in the wheelhouse, and that's where he dies. And yet, in the 1997 one, he's in the wheelhouse. And a lot of people always feel like, oh, he must have died in the water anyway. But I always feel like that's what might have happened to him. Like he went with it. He wasn't going to leave, and he knew what he had to do.
Yeah,
so
he
I
went
feel
down
like
with
that was his way of doing it.
Yeah,
I
he was going to accept responsibility.
Well, I know.
Yep,
I mean, the last captain was the last man to leave, and he knew he was going to die.
Yep, he just accepted his fate. And honestly, just like with Near My God to Thee, I think the 1987 film best captured Captain Smith's death.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, just seeing like
It's just strange that he never says a word at the end. You can only imagine what he would have been thinking those last moments.
Oh wait a minute,
I
do I
mean, you
hear
see in
Nero
my
My God to
fanfic,
Thief playing the
he
background?
dies the exact same way in the movie, except spoiler alert: Titanic's spirit form actually saves his soul while his body gets destroyed.
Ooh.
Seriously?
In my fanfic, yeah, that's why, spoiler alert, in Race the
Whoa.
Titanic, he appears as a ghost, almost like what you see in
Damn.
Star Wars. Only my OC can see him.
Yeah,
The
and
same
What does
honestly,
he
like I was
say
gonna say,
exactly? Does he
Same thing with
oh yeah,
Does he say anything like spooky or something? Or
no, he appears just like he was as if he was still alive. It's a bit like what you see in Star Wars, where Obi-Wan Kenobi is like a false ghost, except in this case, he doesn't have that kind of glowy atmosphere like a Force Ghost would. He just appears like you see me now. You know?
wow.
It's again part of the Titanic's supernatural and part of what her human form is capable of doing. You know?
Or just a part of the supernatural.
Yeah, but only on board the vessel. Even now, I mean, even to this day, only the eyes that my OC character can see and can hear. Like nobody else will notice. It's just part of Titanic
oh
and
yeah,
what
and I was gonna
what
say,
she's capable of doing.
oh yeah, and I'm gonna say, like, for example, in the 1987 film, just seeing the water just shatter the glass windows and flood the wheelhouse where Captain Smith's in, just cling to the wheel. That scene is definitely really terrifying to watch.
Yeah, I can
I
only.
mean, it would be
Well,
very terrifying.
Well, I think he knew he was going to
Yeah.
go in instantly. I think he died almost instantly before the water got him. Like he just took his last breath and eventually just clung on, and then eventually just passed just before the water got him. So I feel like he went instantly. You know, at least he had guts to
Well,
do it. I mean, at least he didn't.
Like
At
from a
least
heart attack.
that's what I mean. He was, I think he had a nervous collapse just prior before it as well. So I feel like that was it. Like he knew he was done. Like we've seen many versions of it. We've seen like 1957 in the 1958 one. He just stands out the wheel. He just clings the microphone, just stands near the wheelhouse and just doesn't move. And then you see in 1996 the other one, which I thought had a great job, which he had more talking lines. He stood there at the very last moment and just and just accepted his fate. I just feel like in
also
97.
You just feel like the 1987. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just felt the 97 one just got it right. Like he just clung there. He knew he was going to go, and then he just that's it. But in my version, I made it more dramatic. Like he said the line from Thor, what Odin says in the film is, instead of saying whoever shall hold the hammer should be worthy will possess the power of Thor. In my version, he would say like whoever shall find this wreck of Titanic and recover her shall possess her power, as if he predicted the future or something, and then he just dies afterwards. Again, it's all part of my anime Titanic. It's part of my anime Titanic thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and also what's also really surprising is that in the 1987 film, we actually see him in the wheelhouse during his final moments twice. Like in the Nero My God to Thief segment, you can actually just see him walking towards the wheel and just putting a hand on it as the room starts to take on water.
He does, yeah. He did that in the film in 1958. He's clung to the wheel and he just hangs on, so he knows what would happen. So I think in a way I felt like, because in that one I always feel like he knows, like say if Titanic was there as a human being, he'd be there. It would be like almost as if embracing the vessel one last time, as if he knows he's going to go.
Well, we actually see him doing that one twice, but that's just when the water's the first time is when the water's slowly coming into the house, and he just puts his hand on the wheel, and then when the glass shatters, he definitely grabs hold of the wheel and the water just completely engulfs the place.
Yeah, making one last final stand, and that's it. Like he knows he was going to go. Some people say he was killed by the collapsing funnel, when the first funnel fell down, but I don't think he was. He was long dead after that.
Yeah.
You can only speculate.
Yeah, he probably died.
And there was no chance of him. He wouldn't have survived in that water anyway after that. It'd have been too cold for him to withstand. So I don't think he would have. Like, I know people say he was swimming up to the upturned lifeboat. I'd like to believe he did before he decided to turn away and die in the darkness. That possibly could have happened. Maybe he did get out at the last moment, only to freeze to death in a way. So
I don't think that really happened. I think he most likely went down with the ship.
I still believe he did. I mean, there's a good chance he may have done it at the last moment only to, but then at the same time, hell, there was one conflicting report that one officer said he committed suicide before on the bridge, which I don't believe he didn't do that at all.
Yeah, I highly doubt he did that.
And of course,
And besides, it's widely rumored that the officer who did shoot himself was First Officer Murdoch.
which we now know wasn't true, despite it's iconic in the movie. I just replaced it and had him killed by the first funnel instead.
Or also, I saw this Lego Titanic film by Cropper, and when the lifeboat it was pushed down, they actually pushed Murdoch with enough force that he fell into the water.
Indeed.
So I actually believe that might have happened too.
We've done quite well, guys. I can see you've done a nice Lego of James in Lego there, by the way, Thomas. Pretty good.
Yep.
Oh, Ash Mario
yeah.
fans here with us. Hello,
Got
Ash.
some
Welcome
news.
aboard.
There's Ash.
Hey, Ash.
There's two Ashes I know of.
It's James.
It's James. We've got two versions, one in Lego and one on the Icon.
I can do a pretty good James.
That's class 28. That's a Clawton.
That's
Class 28.
Oh, I see. Sorry, my bad. It just I couldn't resist a joke there.
Yeah. I finally got a new train Sona figured out, and I chose the Clawton.
That's really cool. That is really cool.
I mean, come on. Maybe one person that you know that whose train Sona is this. There's I only know of one other person that whose train Sona.
And there's the guy up. Oh, for a split moment, I thought that was Timothy, but no, it looks like Thomas.
It's Jonas.
It is.
It is my
Thomas
first
and
All-Engines
Timothy.
Go item, by the way.
Very clever. Very clever.
Nice.
I mean, I gave it a better looking face than
I
it
was just
actually.
going to say the face is one thing, but the ultimate eye is something completely unique.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Anyways, we'll be wrapping this up very shortly. Anyway, so yeah, but we've got a few more minutes to kill off time, and we'll be all right.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
really?
Game fan.
I do believe.
This man right here is actually one of my online friends, and we have several other friends online as well.
Oh, you
Congrats,
had to
that's
throw
good
me
to see.
Oh, you had to throw me under
There's
the
one
bus.
thing I will say. I mean, when Titanic had a last moment, I still feel like the breakup theory will never be understood. But I feel like we've come a long way to understanding it. But the 97 one captured it really, really well. I mean, because that to me, out of the entire event of it all, I think that was probably the most terrifying of the entire ordeal.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They knew the end was coming at that point. But
that was crazy.
some people say if it happened at a shallower angle, it would have which some people feel like it did. There was that documentary called Titanic's Missing Pieces when they were looking for the two missing double bottom sections, and they were explaining it may have happened differently and much earlier, which was quite intriguing.
I know one of them showed it. It was when the the stern ripped apart as it was going down.
Yeah, I know it was quite unique because
I remember this one animation from the 100th anniversary, how it just showed the double bottom just flying off like a frisbee.
Yeah, I remember that one. Everyone remembers that was when James Cameron did his remake on the sinking animation, which almost looked as good as in the original. But at least we got that correct. At least Titanic sank at the exact time, the breakup happening, and it wasn't as dramatic as we thought it would have been. But again, it just helped us understand the sinking better. Although, how can we not beat what we saw in the movie, which was just, because at the time that's what we all believed, So definitely. So I feel like the whole thing has really, really changed. Like I said before, there's so many different ways that it could have happened. I always felt Titanic may have held on for the last moment, and then after it went under the water, and the first 500 feet down, I feel like that's when the bow and stern may have finally separated. You know what I mean? Because at the time it would have been pitch black. You wouldn't have been able to see the vessel, and of course it was it was so dark you can only see the silhouette. That's why everybody had conflicted reports saying that it sank intact, or some say it broke in two. But we know, as we had confirmation with the discovery, we figured it out once and for all. But how it happened was, it's still debated to this very day. Everyone's had their own theories, and we'll never come to a solid conclusion. because no matter how many times we talk about Titanic or discuss it, it just seems to be a never-ending cycle. There's always something about the name of Titanic and the vessel itself that seems to refuse to fade. If you think about it, it's like that. It's like that old saying in the 1998 Titanic documentary and Beyond the Titanic. Once the Titanic gets into your life, she never leaves you, and that's a true fact.
True.
Very,
True.
very true.
It's almost romantic. It's almost romantic if you think about it. Strange twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cam, I see you gotten Timothy on the skirt on your PFP.
Oh no! Come on.
Oh, I've seen that version, Cam, on DeviantArt.
It is a really good version.
Someone did that
Oh,
on
yeah, and guess what?
DeviantArt as a nice tribute to me, and I appreciate it.
Speaking of Timothy, I posted one on my DeviantArt as well.
Oh yeah, and guess what?
I'll get it up real quick. Hold on.
Graveyard.
Oh, no.
That's an impression.
It'll be like this, actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you all to eternal damnation. That's how I spoke normally, and then just put the effects in afterwards.
And every year on the date of the accident, it runs again.
I don't know why, but I keep thinking of Diesel D199's version now, where he's just like when his crew just uncouples his coaches, and he's like, "This is it,
that 199. Yes, I know which one you're referring to. It was hilarious back then. I could tell it was just a parody. I was like, okay, a bit of a laugher there.
Oh no! And I forgot. And I've been putting on my regulator this entire time.
That was from the Adventure Begins parody.
Yep.
Oh Jesus, not that one. Oh my lord. We don't talk about the reboot of Thomas. That's a no.
That's an overused one.
That's a no.
Oh dear.
Here we go.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's where it came from. Oh, nice. A silhouette. Oh, someone did a remake on it with using the old faces. Nice.
Wow.
Ooh.
And
so that's you, mate. You can find me on DA as well, by the way. That's good.
Yeah.
I think I may have fabbed that photo. No.
Hold on.
Let me just see that there. Oh, I'm just trying to see who that could be now. I'm just trying to remember.
Or she Minecraft.
Hang on.
You see Stampy's Lovely World.
Yep.
Hang on, Timothy C fan. Oh, I thought it was you, mate. Yeah, ooh. I think I've subscribed to you. I have. I think we're watchers on there.
Yeah, Stampy. I guess that means
his series had finally ended about like a year ago.
Oh, I see.
It ended at episode like what, 823?
Hold on. Let me search it up.
Wasn't there another version? Like, there's another guy who does Thomas and Sonic, and it was like a new beginning, and he's done like 3 episodes. I could be wrong. That's another guy, and that was pretty cool. Oh, jeez.
It was it's 823. It was 5 months ago.
That's really cool. That one is like again more dramatic. I do like the smoke effect on Edward. That looks really cool. Makes it more dramatic.
Oh yeah, instead of his tired face, he has his angry face.
Oh, boy.
It gives it more determination that I think we're really. Ignore my dog. Shut up.
I think he's found something.
The limits.
It's just another dog.
Oh, that means he's socializing.
Or it's just a thing that he really gets aggravated by.
Even when I see the band playing the final hymn, I can only picture what what Titanic would have felt like in those last moments. Because even I've done a human version where she's like just slowly wandering by, and they don't even know.
Buddy,
I mean, me, you know how much I like anime, and of course, blending it in, it's like in a strange way, like how with the vessel itself would have been. It's a strange way. I mean, I know it's a bit strange for some of you guys to know, but that's just how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Even in my fanfic, you hear the voice of Titanic a couple of times, and even they hear it. Not the passengers don't know, but only the crew and those on board may have done. It's again supernatural at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
Now he's sitting at the window.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Window goes in.
Let me turn my computer screen. See,
Oh,
there
I
he
see
is.
him. He's watching out the window.
Oh,
Yep.
looking out the window.
Some more train-related things. Hold on. I know I have it. There it is.
Hey. Yeah, I've been
Oh.
keeping.
The Polar Express.
Yes.
That's the fictional 1225.
I was gonna say I've been keeping busy too.
It doesn't work anymore
Well, at least you can preserve it for display.
as a static model,
Yeah.
which I can now. Which, since I remove all the electronics from it, since it doesn't work anymore, shove a flashlight.
Well, that's good. At least the thing still works. That's one good thing. At least you can light it up then at night time.
Yep.
Ooh. Oh wait, you can
Whoa,
do
that-
that? Holy
See?
that
So
one's
it's not
not
doom and gloom. It's good for display to light in the dark.
I had to remove the
smoke box.
not the smoke box door, just like what was it? What was the thing called at the front of 1225 on top of the smoke box?
That was the bell, wasn't it?
Not the
Yeah,
bell.
the bell. Or
Not the
No,
bell. Like
The whistle?
not
No,
not
there
the
was
whistle.
There was
It
something
was something that heated up more. I forgot what it's called.
like a superheater type of thing.
Yes, the superheater.
Or
I
that's
don't
it,
remember
yeah.
that.
Or was it
That's what had held the smoke box door together. I had to remove it.
or what's
No,
that?
that.
Hold on.
And then
Wait, maybe
filled the holes with like plastic
maybe it's-
thing. I don't know what it's called.
Wait, maybe it's not a superheater. Maybe it's one of those feed water heaters.
I don't think it's a feed water heater.
Something tells me it is. I don't know why.
I mean, someone has to know more about 1225 than me. I only know like a couple of things on it.
Well, I know it was on display at MSU, Go Michigan State.
And used to work in Chicago. No, Ohio. That's where it was.
Chicago, Ohio. I don't know why that sounds like a very unusual rhyme together.
No, I think it actually worked in Ohio.
Let me see.
Somewhere in Ohio.
Well, it was built in Ohio. No, I'm looking at this. It said it was used to shuttle steel and wartime freight between Detroit, Saginaw, and Flint and northern Indiana steel mills. Hey, that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
You're thinking of where it was built, not where it worked.
I was thinking. I thought it worked in Ohio at one point. I didn't know it was just built in Ohio.
So it was built at Lima, so there's that.
Shove that on top.
I don't know.
Guys, if Syfy just saw me take me cap of New Installers, I've just passed the scene where Kevin Smith just made his face in the 1958 movie where he just looks back and then he just goes in the wheelhouse and then just stands there, doesn't say a word. And then the bell just
yeah, I
goes
was gonna
right
ask, was that-
underneath.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, was that Nearer My God to Thee I heard playing in the background?
Of course, that's the original. That's the one they played in the black and white film, not the one, the original that you know.
Oh,
That's where Smith knows he's going to go, and that's it, and he's just given up. He's like
Yeah,
right by
that's
the
similar-
it's right by the telemotor. He's got his megaphone in his hand.
Big Mickey.
Really?
and that's
That's
Really?
and that's
When I think of megaphone, I think of
what's
Big
totally
Mickey.
different from what
Okay.
happened
I miss Big Mickey. I'm not gonna lie, he was one of the best in the series.
At least
I'm not-
he
I-
showed up in like Thomas and Friends.
Don't.
Yeah, the
Don't
big
go-
crowd. Yeah,
Yep.
Oh yeah, that
Oh
sun
yeah, you're talking
reveal.
about the Tuxedo Munitions where he got knocked over
yeah, that's
on
the
the
one.
fire.
Yeah, that's who
Yeah.
referring to Big Mickey.
No,
that's
but-
the one.
But he's also he could be referred to that big reveal where all of a sudden has a face.
Yeah, I
Thomas and
remember.
Friends.
Yeah, isn't there one in the Trains fandom now where there's a big crane with the face moving? And that has to be him, right?
That was hilarious. How he just
That
turned.
has to be
and he
Big
just-
Mickey.
that was funny how he just turns around. The
So
first thing
now
he
you
just says
speak?
is,
You've been silent all these years, Big Mickey.
Because he couldn't say. Maybe he just had no voice.
Well, apparently he said you didn't bother talking to me all these years.
That makes that just sounds
"Nice
hilarious.
little running joke.
Yeah.
Nice little running joke."
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of jokes, which I don't think is a joke.
Oh God, not the cars thing, anything but that.
You hate cars.
No, it's just no. Let's just say I grew out of Pixar a lot. They just don't sound well. Besides Toy Story, obviously for obvious reasons, 1 and 2 only. The rest is just I don't know. It just
Questionable.
trailed off. It just trailed off with me over time. If you know
The
what I'm
only
saying.
good Cars movies are 1 and 3.
Cars 1 was fine with me. I just couldn't take the rest on afterwards.
The only part of Toy Story 3 I really liked was the beginning with the train.
Oh, that was good.
Oh,
I
yeah.
will admit the opening was good.
Nice
I
little-
always, I always
It was a
think
nice call.
if this train had a face, it'd be like, "Oh shit, I'm a goddamn runaway! Help me, motherfuckers!"
I will admit that was hilariously funny.
Yeah.
It was a good. It was a good
Yeah.
intro, though. It was a good.
Yeah,
intro.
it was a nice callback to the first one.
But
Mhm.
the rest of it didn't work. I mean, Toy Stories 1 and 2 will always be the best ones for obvious reasons. They were both in the 90s for crying out loud, and they were very good for what they were, taking
I'm
parodies and
kinda-
everything. But as a kid growing up, it was good. But when you get older, it just feels like 3 and 4 just didn't. I mean, it helps. It really does nail home of the reality of us growing up.
Yeah.
But nothing can ever capture the magic that Toy Story 1 and 2 had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It felt
Well,
good.
People always overthink Cars of like how the story didn't really need to be around talking cars.
But I thought
Yeah.
it was okay. I thought it was all right. I mean, it's good to know
That's
cars
what,
having their own
I'm just saying
personality.
that's what
Let me-
some people think about. But then
Look
when
at
you look
Thomas.
at
Look
about
at Thomas and
back toys,
Friends. I mean, look at Thomas and Friends. They had faces. Heck, some of the transportations like Bertie, Bulgy, Terrence, and Trevor, they had faces and their
yeah,
transports.
I know.
Who can forget-
You see
who
what I'm
can
getting
forget-
at?
Yeah, but some people never think about this story doesn't need about toys to be sentient though.
Yeah, I can tell exactly where you're getting at.
Yeah.
That's just something I know where you're getting at, pal. Definitely. I just don't talk about that, but I know where you're coming from, big time.
I mean, this is something that Unlucky Tug brought about his review about Cars.
I'm not gonna lie, the Unlucky Tug Man, one of the best. I think he had his best one. I feel like was the one he talked about my favorite engine, Henry, and it just was brilliant. It's the best one I like out of the whole.
I suffer dreadfully, and no one cares. And then they drive me on ice.
Yeah, and there's like.
Oh yeah,
most
Frontier
beautiful-
55 Stepney's video.
What were you doing, driver?
Oh Jesus!
Get me the hell out of here!
Okay, well, I will admit
It's quite
Toy
fun
Story
now.
is a good franchise, but the one thing I find disappointing about it is that it freaking destroyed at the box office. It destroyed one of my other favorite movies,
Which one?
Balto.
Ooh.
Oh.
Did you guys know about that?
I
I
did
think
not
I
know.
knew about it. I seen the review about Balto and how his
I did
two
not
like
know.
other films were like pretty bad.
Yeah, apparently because of Toy Story's success, the film was a financial disappointment. However, it did well in the sales to home video. And you
That's
know what?
okay then.
And do you know what resulted from that? 2 sequels. The first of which I found to be absolute crap, especially at the end.
Sequels don't always work out. It all depends on the directing and the storytelling and everything else. But yeah, sequels don't always work out. Sometimes one movie alone is all you need.
Take a look at Cars 2.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I'm
But
gonna
let's not
Very
go
nice.
there.
well, I'm gonna say
That's
We're
a
kind of
true
losing
one.
track on the Titanic thing, anyways. I
I'm
mean,
only mentioning it.
yeah, it's all right, but just saying it happens in my streams and everything else. We mention one thing, it can set us all off. I
Yeah,
mean, we
it
all
just
go on.
rambles on and on and on.
But that's where, but we try and, but the whole rambling and my variation, we always try and make it as a fun entertainment, as if it's a comedy thing. But I get that. We don't want to make it like an actual, you know what I mean? So we
Yep.
just ramble on to make it funny and entertainment.
Yeah.
In any cases, guys, like I said, we're getting close to it now, but we've done a very good job. 1 hour and 45 minutes, so we've almost beat the sinking timeline almost. I've just got to the bit
Oh,
where the ship's
yeah.
about to have our lights blown out.
Really?
Yeah,
the
it's
lights.
still sticking high in the air.
Damn.
Keep those breakers in. Keep them
No,
in.
it's just that the lights just went out, just like, and in that variation, Titanic's already dead at that point. Yet you can still see the model, and steam's still leaking out. At that point, she would have broken her back, but they didn't happen in this movie. But the lights just went out, almost the exact same moment in the movie, and the stern's literally that high in the air.
So which one are you watching? The 1958 version?
Yeah, 1958. Yeah, that's the one I'm watching right now in HD.
Oh,
The first Titanic film that had no plot and romance. It was like an historic remake, the first one ever done. And it was what made Titanic introduced to a new generation at that point, where we are today. I mean, James Cameron was very enthusiastic with this one. So you can tell there were some similarities that were doing in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, also I want to say about the Cars franchise. I'm actually not one of those people who is mixed about the Cars franchise. I love all three Cars movies.
If you like it, that's your opinion. I'm not going to judge you.
yeah.
I'm not going to judge you either.
I'm actually, Ken fan, I'm actually kind of surprised that you're not that big of a fan of Pixar, but that's understandable.
But I mean, it was growing up. As we go over time, it's just, I don't know. Most 3D films are just not there anymore.
So you're saying you don't have lacked interest in them?
I don't know. It's just how it went over time as I got older. You know, I'm very old school. I love the animation instead. You know, the old animation on Disney, and it was good. But I will admit, last year what they did, when they did it last year, when they celebrated 100 years of Disney, and every animation from the old days to where we are now all came together. I will admit that was probably one of the best things I've ever seen, and I just felt like, personally, I think Disney still has the magic in us, even us older fans of today, despite how things have changed. There's a teeny little bit of us from our time still holding on, and it's really good. So I know it's a continuing and evolving thing that keeps us, remembering what we saw growing up and where we are today. So that's a good thing.
It's like Linus. It just keeps on and on. It just keeps going on and on.
I don't really mind about the remakes as well either, and I know some people can get a little heat for that. But I like for them before they've done, showing what we never got to see in the animations, and they stick much to the novelization almost. Some have their own retakes and do their own little twists, which is grand, and I think it's really nice. It gives you that old nostalgia vibe. It's like I don't want to bring up my favorite Disney character because I'm very protective, but I'll say it anyway. I'll say it anyway. I mean, look at my favorite Disney character with Dumbo. The famous elephant with big ears. They did a remake on him in 2019, which they brought him back thanks to Tim Burton.
I can't believe it's already been 5 years since that came out.
I know, it's amazing, and I saw it 4 times when it was released. I loved it.
Do we all? Oh, but can we all agree? Casey Jr. looked terrifying.
Look, I loved it. Look, as soon as I saw Casey Jr. and I heard that huffing and puffing and his theme playing, this is how I described it. It was like I was on board the train having a ride through. Guess what? It was like the same feeling I had when I first saw Thomas for the first time when I was 1 year old. That was how it felt, and I felt like it was amazing,
Blown away.
I felt like it was fantastic, and I loved it for what it was. Casey Jr.'s theme was hit a few times, so Tim Burton knew what he was doing, making some references. It was just a nice tip to the original, and I thought it was brilliant. I'm thinking this is exactly what a remake is like.
Well, Danny Elfman, because he's the one who did the music.
Yes, he did. The same man who did, and the same guy who made Batman's iconic theme, and how appropriate for him to do it for my favorite character as well. So I felt like I was so happy for that movie, man. It's the best. To be honest, it's the best remake out of all the remakes I've seen in my life. I know Beauty and the Beast is a mountain tall to climb, and I know Lion King was grand, and I know Aladdin was unique, but Dumbo was its own thing, and I just feel like give the film what it was. It saved my interest in Disney completely, and I just fell in love with Disney all over again for old school reasons. And again, you know, it was just one of the most beautiful things I've ever saw, you know, and I don't regret seeing it 4 times. I got it on DVD. I've even got the novel version of it in the screenplay thing, which I got for free when I saw the movie. They were giving them away. Well, if you saw it on the day when it premiered, you didn't have to get the cost for the ticket to see it was with the book as an extra bonus. So I was very lucky.
Oh,
that's how it worked. They were just
okay.
giving them away.
I want to address pun partially intended, but I do want to address the elephant in the room. Did anyone know? Speaking of
incident with
speaking
Henry
of the original Batman theme, did anyone hear the similarities between that and Henry's bad theme?
I live in the shadows.
I think so. I don't know why, but maybe that must have been a very good reference. Hell, speaking of Batman, did you not know someone's done this thing like something in the Thomas series, like almost similar to the real thing? And someone played Henry's sad theme, and then they composed it over.
Oh, I've seen that video.
Yeah,
yes,
and I
that video.
Unrelated songs that sound like Thomas themes, like Henry.
Yes, I was shocked. I watched it. I was like, "Wait a minute, Henry's sad theme," and then I heard Batman theme, and then I was like, "No way, that can't be." And I actually got goosebumps. The greatest sad theme to the best anti-hero theme of all time. I'm like, that's scary, but I thought that was awesome at the same time. I was like, now I can see where they may have got it from.
One of my favorites was Percy's hit era theme and the Indiana Jones theme.
That was hilarious.
Sounds similar to the Indiana Jones in season 8.
I actually burst out with laughter with that one. I was like, okay, I see where he's getting it from.
In fact, somebody actually made a mashup of that on SoundCloud.
Really?
Well, whoever did that, props to them.
Yes.
What?
Oh wow, we've hit 1 minute and 52 minutes in. We've almost hit the 2 hour mark, man. We're almost there.
Speaking of Henry.
Yeah, Terminator fan, we don't talk about Titanic 666, okay? I've seen it once and I don't intend to see it again. Despite the fact the supernatural was a bit refreshing on Titanic, I was thinking, okay. And I saw it because obviously Captain Smith's ghost was on. I was like, whoever's played it looks like exactly what Mary C would have seen him as in a darker perspective. But I thought that was quite unique. I know I'm a bit of a mark when it comes to, like, you know, things are shitty, or pardon my French there, or just disgusting. But I try and give, you know, respective props to the creators for what they try and do. And that's what we should do. We shouldn't be like throwing negative bombs at things that are disgusting or whatever, because that's just pure drama. Just get the guys the idea of what they were trying to achieve, and that's what all you gotta do is just like, nice try, but it may have not worked out, but at least it was something, you know. And that's why I think people in creativity, when they do like these low budget films, especially if it's a sci-fi, because that's what the Titanic 2 2010 film was.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. There's that one scene where you hear the freaking breaking sound from Thomas and Friends season, also from the hit era.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Every time I hear anything Thomas related, I do kind of get a nice chuckle. Like, okay, at least some of the original sound effects that we hear are still used.
They're still around.
Like you hear it. Like you hear it.
You hear it in like Disney. You hear them like almost everywhere.
Oh my God! Another one. Murdoch's whistle was actually heard in an episode of Veggie Tales.
Is it actually?
Yeah,
that's crazy right now.
Yeah, it's from the episode A Snoodle's Tale. You'll hear when in the clock from the clock tower.
Oh my dear Lord!
Wow, we're up different kinds of food now, aren't we now?
By the way, I found the track. Here it is.
I'm waving my invisibility white flag. I get it. And so I go down. And so I shall go down. I was just playing the
What?
joke saying, I shall go down with this ship. I won't hold my hands up or surrender. Yep, I get that. You know what song I was referring to, that one.
Trying
Boom.
to sound like
Oh,
SpongeBob over here.
no, we don't talk about SpongeBob. That's a hell no.
Yes. I'm SpongeBob.
Oh, we don't go that far. Oh, wait. Oh, no, that wasn't Timothy. That was Ben Affleck's Batman I was doing.
Sorry.
SpongeBob impressions.
Yeah, sorry. That happens a lot sometimes when that happens.
Oh no.
Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
Oh, wow. 5 more minutes to go in and we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. I'm very surprised some of these films haven't been colorized, what they would have looked like if shot in color. Although there are some terrible ones we've seen, which was really good. But if it was completely colorized, you can only imagine what it would have looked like. We've seen footages for the past who've been brought to life in color as if they were so you're not looking in the past of what it would have looked like then.
That'd be crazy. Like how they did with whooping.
And now Titanic's in her final phase, and she's going down. Third smokestack just went on the water. She's in her final death throw now.
Just in the final
At this
few
point,
seconds.
at this point now, she would have snapped her back and gone into an uprising position.
I have ended the show.
Oh, she's breaking up.
I'm breaking my stats.
Yep, 4 phones collapsing out.
I was about to die next week.
Oh my god, I remember that from Unlucky Tugs 3 dubs. When Trampy played the Tramp Steamer.
Oh God, not that one. At that point, the passengers knew they were going to go.
Oh, damn. Ash, would you like to tell Daniel about some of my
Speaking of
would you like to
Trampy,
tell
I have-
Campbell about some of my
I did a
online?
heavy version. I did like
Daniel?
I did
Yeah.
the.
Well,
I've
sorry,
been seeing that series, the Trampy Thomas series, which have become quite popular.
They're really good.
I will
Yeah.
admit they were hilarious.
One with Percy helping Henry.
That was really cool. I
They're
That was
think
a
like
good move.
They're like a kid and his big brother. Almost.
Yep. Speaking of Trampy, I did the Trampy I Went to an Atlantic animated.
Oh, everyone's been doing that one.
Oh, I love that one. I went to the Atlantic, and that son of a.
There's
Set
flip
me
me
back.
off. I got it.
What the fuck?
What the hell is this?
I'm presenting it right now.
Flip me off.
Oh, she.
Oh,
she
Jesus
gone?
Christ. I can only imagine if that had been if that happened in an actual live action of Thomas, it would be done for a comedy purpose. I don't know why I can hear Danny DeVito saying the lines instead, knowing how hilarious he can be.
Like,
Yeah,
as per Tom.
Oh, I know. I love Danny DeVito.
He could see. I can hear him saying the lines.
I could totally see him as Sir Tom.
That's
Oh,
just
yeah.
that's just me for comedy reasons. I can see him doing it. Nobody else.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
man,
what do you say?
Damn.
Now the Titanic is almost going to a vertical position. She's
Uh-oh.
finally she's finally taking her last stand.
Final plunge, eh?
Oh, are you watching something? Cane Fan, what are you watching?
Yeah.
Just out of
He's
curiosity.
watching a Night to Remember.
Oh yeah.
Oh
She's
no.
finally given up. That's it.
More Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, we got Mater. What the world?
Oh
One
god,
more
there
will
it
do.
goes.
Okay, so what were you
Totally
saying, Eric?
on.
You were saying something about. What were you saying?
So Ash, I was thinking if you could tell Cane Fan about some of our online friends.
I think he knows about some of them, like Wolf and Daniel and Gio.
Well, I was thinking like Olivia as well.
Ash, here's the Lego James
Oh.
games that you said that was a Hogwarts bootleg.
Well, look at the sticker on the cab and the tender.
That's because it was made out of a Lego Hardcore Express.
That's what I thought
it
it was.
was. I thought it was Hogwarts related.
Oh.
Also, I gave him a little lamp coat.
It's like if you guys didn't know I was watching the movie, that's why I was, so I've acted a little bit out of place. I just get caught in the moments. That's what it is.
Honestly,
Oh,
Eric,
that makes
I don't
sense.
have much to say.
That's why I try and hold back, not to choke up and not tear up as much, because that's how I am. Especially when tomorrow I'll be up by 2:30 in the morning.
Oh boy,
There's a swell coming up.
I'm gonna be up at probably 8 o'clock.
It's 5:21 where I'm.
6:21 for me.
321 for me.
6:22 for me.
But there's one good thing. If there's one good thing that did come out of all this whole Titanic tragedy, at least Carpathia made it, despite being so far. At least it was able to pick up 700 and plus size survivors. It's remarkable that anybody survived the disaster.
Oh yeah, honestly, they should make a film about Carpathia.
Yeah, like in the aftermath, like it begins right at the beginning of the movie when Titanic's gone.
Yeah, and then it goes up to when Carpathia herself goes down, following Titanic's footsteps.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of this, isn't there, lads?
She's gone.
Get that mic, guys. Get that line up. If we had slowed up a bit more slower, they wouldn't have hit the iceberg. Or meet the border with trade relations, things would have been a lot different.
Definitely.
Under the border trade, it seemed like everything was good to go, but I guess
nothing came out right for Titanic. She was following an out-of-date regulation. If they, she was a new kind of vessel, and they were following a border trade regulations that was out of date 20 years previously.
Oh my God!
That's true.
Damn.
Yeah. Damn indeed.
And the dam where Toby.
Oh
no! Come on! You had to go there.
I had to make a reference.
Not that kind of thing.
I know. I know.
Oh dear.
I thought you were reacting to what I was saying about it's a very unusual looking Thomas who seems to be over his stack.
It's
I guess
the same one.
Oh, okay. Didn't know
it's the same one where I just did the little bit thing. I made him kind of more E2 like a little.
I was gonna say though, man's not God though. Apparently, that's Mr. Lifetime knew. I mean, Mr. Lifetime's been at sea since he was little. Second officer on Titanic. He's even been shipwrecked, but this was so different. He knew what the sea could do, but this was different. Not because they hit an iceberg, it's because everyone was so sure that Titanic would never sink. But even though it happened 112 years ago, it's still unbelievable to all of us this day. Then again, I don't think we'll be sure. Then again, I don't think we'll be ever sure about anything, even now.
Yet they do realize that boats can sink.
Nothing is indestructible.
Yeah.
But at that time, though, there was so much faith in technology. Here we are in 1912, and this year we'll be promising that new stuff for mankind would achieve greatness and everything, and that's what we were living on. But it just never happened for Titanic,
Yeah.
And on that night, it all just became man's worst nightmare. Just because something was even bigger didn't prove to be better.
Yeah.
And mankind soon learned, even though they don't learn to this day, we weren't able to conquer over Mother Nature or the sea itself. Big never always meant better at all.
Like a train who failed to keep sand out of its systems.
Yeah.
Have you seen
even train disasters will tell you that too.
Have you seen those top 5 worst train lists?
Yeah, there was one I remember back in the old historic days. There was something called worst train wrecks ever, or they're something called
worst train designs.
I don't know what it was called, but it was from a very, very old documentary. I think it was from the early 90s or wherever it was that I remember watching on here. But it was it showed some of the worst stories that would tell you about the worst disasters on the rails in America during the early years.
Oh.
So it was, yeah.
Oh, early years.
But again, And again, like I said, if there was any a hero in Titanic, I always feel like Carpathia was the hero that night. I mean, because Captain Charles Wattsman, he sacrificed his own ship to get through the same ship and lands at crippled Titanic, and he would do anything, and he did what he had to do.
From what I understand, Olympic was also kept in contact with Titanic, but then she was turned down because the
Well, the
survivors
thing
were
was, she was
trying
too far. No, the thing was, she was too far away to help her sister. She was 500 miles away. She would never have made it.
Well, and there
Oh,
was also
yeah.
the fact that the survivors would have probably been a bit shocked to see a nearly identical ship to Titanic.
I know, yeah. Well, in the aftermath, a lot of people did get reluctant to jump on Olympic afterwards because of the identities, apparently. But when she was improved afterwards, that all stopped. Not to mention, because Olympic and Titanic, as I said before, they started off as twins, ironically enough, and then Titanic did not become identical after the new improvements.
Yeah, then Britannic came along, and then she went down too.
Just 4 years after Titanic sinking, Britannic would share her own fate, and she went almost 3 times faster, sinking.
In only 55 minutes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, and only 30 people were lost in that one.
Most of them horribly were cut
Wow.
off by the chain propellers on Britannic. But the thing is, the only good thing about Britannic's case is that she was outbound from Mudros to pick up the wounded. Had she struck the mine coming back home, and with a lot of injured patients on board that would have been defenseless, it would have made the Titanic disaster look like a picnic, and the death toll could have definitely surpassed. So just think about it.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it, because Titanic sank in a peacetime time sinking in Maritime, whereas Britannic sank during wartime.
And so did Lusitania, but that was on the Cunard
Oh yeah.
liner.
Oh yeah. I was gonna mention Lusitania as well.
Guys, look at the press 50.
God, look, when I hear about Lusitania's disaster, look, as much as I want to keep on blaming our German counterparts for firing the bullet that killed well over, so many innocent people on board, I still feel like we Brits had our own faults to play in it too. So we're all at fault.
Oh, Cam's gone.
But I still feel like
that's understandable.
but I always feel like whoever pulled that trigger, like, if you 103 or whatever hadn't done, or whatever it was, hadn't done what it did, then America may now have been pressed into the war, and of course we Brits may have not have survived. But at the same time, I just feel like it was just terrible. I mean, Lucy did not deserve to sink like that, and yet her captain, Captain Turner, survived after he went down. He was pulled unconscious 3 hours in the water, and he lived.
Wait, what?
Captain Turner, that was Lusitania's captain, and he survived. He went down with the vessel,
that
and
surprises me.
he took the charts and everything at the locations with him, and he went to the inquiry. He was pulled unconscious in the water after 3 hours unconscious, and he was alive. You even see it in the documentary movie of Lusitania Murder in the Atlantic, or 18 Minutes of Terror, as it's sometimes called, and you do see him in the wheelhouse. He stays in and he goes down, and he survives, just like in Britannic's case, but unlike all the other vessels, Captain Bartlett, who had Britannic, he was the last guy to leave, and he stayed to the very end, and he casually just walked off at the end of it, just as the bridge was going to go. So he lived, and he did what any captain did. He didn't choose to go down. He stayed at the last moment and made sure everyone was off, and then he just casually just walked into the water and just fell in. So he did it. So he was able to live.
Damn.
He didn't know about the loss of life, about he lost. He would eventually know about the loss of life after the sinking, and he was.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Afterwards.
I mean, who wouldn't know? Considering
he didn't even realize at the time, because he was trying to beach the ship, and not realizing that 2 lifeboats had been launched without his ordering at the time, and that's what would have happened with those who didn't listen. Got caught in the propeller blades,
Damn.
And he didn't even know about it because he was too busy trying to save his vessel. He was doing what any captain would have done.
Trying to save our vessels, our locomotives, our cars, or any type of vehicle transport.
Trying to be a hero.
Yeah.
And he did. He tried.
except for like people trying to escape from like police.
Let's not bring that up, Thomas. Honestly, you
Yeah.
don't want. But that's one thing. Don't ever run from the boys in blue, otherwise, it's not going to be a pretty ending.
Did you have to really bring up the OAU?
Sorry, couldn't hold it in.
Oh God.
Oh.
Indeed.
Oh,
At the
yeah.
end of the day, it was overdone with. But
Yeah.
again, it's just amazing, and we've done it 2 hours and 10 minutes in.
Woo!
Yeah. All right. Oh, hey,
Indeed.
Kane fan, I want to tell you something. So, me and Ash right here have several online friends, and I actually want to tell you something. One of Ash's friends happens to be my girlfriend. I have a girlfriend named Olivia.
You really had to throw me
Well,
under
congratulations. I've been, well, let you know, I've been single since 2017, man.
the bus. Yeah,
I haven't found romance.
Man.
But congrats, man. If you ever
Come on.
do, tell her I said hello, and I wish her all the best.
Oh,
Wait, you
dear.
want me to say? You want me to
Just tell her
relay
I
that
said
to
hello and
Olivia?
I wish the best. Yeah, tell her I wish her all the best and
Oh.
everything out of politeness. You know,
I will.
always good to make new friends as we go along. You know,
And she actually knows about you
Okay,
too.
bye.
Well, who doesn't?
Tell no nothing. Everything that was done possible has been made possible. Is now done. That's exactly what Carpathia had said. Time California, no nothing. Everything that has been humanly possible has been done.
My name is Tobias.
Wow.
That wouldn't be the end. I mean, after Titanic's death, it was almost like the vessel sacrificed itself for us to be more safe and secure. If we hadn't learned the lessons, none of us would have safer vessels of today. So in a strange way, it was almost like Titanic made a sacrifice almost, despite not living that long.
If it was alive, that being.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. But then after all that time and after being found in 1985, she was forever immortalized. But had that discovery not happened, we wouldn't know of it today. And what was good about it is that Bob Ballard's finding of the Titanic opened up an exciting new chapter for a lot of us, you know. And by the time the 90s came along, and that's where I came into life, you know. And of course, it opened up an exciting new journey for new voyagers to know about Titanic, and I happen to be one of those to this day. You know, it's just amazing how it all came together. You know, I mean, my early days of Titanic were very good. You know, I remember it so well. Like I understood it. Like in terms from a point of view, but I was just so in love with the whole thing. It was just great. You know, like it was a name that wouldn't leave me. And I don't know what happened, but by 2009. During a Comic Con or wherever it was, dressed in the costume like this, I was having a different one or whatever. I don't know what happened. I just remember just like, you know, looking at a nice, lovely model painting of Titanic or whatever it was. Like I actually have a replica of the movie from the Heart of the Ocean, you know, that I managed to get, you know, and I don't know what happened. I just broke into tears. Don't know what happened. It just hit me that way, and I've been that way ever since. Maybe it was I had a better understanding, or maybe it was a connection I had. Who knows? Nice one with Toby there, mate. And then, you know, 2012 or where it was, 2010 or whatever the case may be, it just got more and more emotional for me. And by 2012, when the 100th anniversary, we all know the world just stopped and just focused on Titanic. It was like almost as if there was peace at last, and we all understood what was going on. It was kind of like we understood the disaster, like we all knew. And, you know, there was, I can't remember so much about it. I remember weeping on that night all the way through until 2:30 in the morning. It never stopped.
I wait some. Well, yeah.
No, there's no way.
No way. Well,
What?
That is crazy. That's
I know
all
it's crazy. And then it's like, then after that, you know, the new Titanic thing was going to happen. I was like, oh, wow, like the ending of the Titanic story. And then we have a new one, which is the new vessel that's coming out now soon. But as time went on, it just feels like Titanic just got more and more gripping for me each year. You know, and I know you guys don't like to see it always on me, just because I'm very protective with my expression is, and I get a little choked and teary-eyed, which I've almost done for this entire stream, if you didn't realize. But that's just how it is. But I will admit, it's just like a better understanding, and now that the new vessel's coming, I just feel like a more happier ending will soon come in sight. Like, give peace to the Titanic, and for the victims that lived and died, they can finally have the happy ending they should have had 112 years ago. And in our time, we're completing that journey. It's almost like we'll finish what they started, and it'll be like I said, it's the ending of one chapter, but the beginning of a new. But at the same time, we're rewriting history of what should have gone down, and I feel like this is the best way to honor Titanic. And I feel like I know everybody else is going to agree with me, but I feel like it's the best thing that I think the original could ever get. And I feel like the White Star Line and all those designers, those who thought about it all those years ago, I think it would be a good thing to achieve,
Yeah.
But also to represent a time from a different bygone era, because that was the Edwardian era, and where people of us of all riches alike were different. There was a different society. Men and women treated each other so differently. There was much more civil in that lifetime compared to nowadays, and there was more manners. It was more of an era of elegance and kindness, and peace and love and goodwill to everybody. And that's what the Titanic represented in that time period. And I feel like stepping back in time to relive this way of living, I feel like we'll bring out the best of us. We need to, quote unquote, sail in a much more peaceful environment where we can all be there for each other. Like I wouldn't say like we're all equals, but we all see each other almost the same way as another, because we're all human beings. As I once said in one of my previous streams, we all bleed the same blood, we breathe the same air, we walk the same earth together. It doesn't really matter regardless of this or anything else. I don't want to get too complicated with what I was saying there, but we're all human beings. Despite our nationality, we all dress differently, but we're all the same in terms of human species. I just feel like
Definitely.
and the Titanic too, or I should say the new Titanic, I should say, in her new reincarnated body, will be made as a ship of peace. And it will link all these continents of the planet that we need to be in. It will link Southampton, New York, linking two continents together and back again. Where it's going to be built in Europe, that's what we don't know just yet. So any of the European continents will be connected to us for this as well, because we're living in a global system nowadays. So it was a totally different Titanic that we had, but the experience of the ocean liner itself will be exactly the same as it was back then. So it's basically a 1912 experience. It's not going to be like the modern day cruising that we see today, but like when you saw that image of Titanic where all the lifeboats are, that's where the safety deck's going to be. That's where the modern deck is going to be. We'll have like a theater. There'll be possibly a casino, for what I know, and they'll have a lot of modern day things that we see on modern cruise vessels. So, you can either do two things. You can go ahead in the time as we are in today on the new Titanic, or you can go back in time and stay locked in that period, which may have been a better time. Who knows? And that's the exciting thing about it. Like, the maids are going to be wearing the exact same things they had in 1912. We'll be wearing the same costumes that they had, so we can experience what they did. It'll be like being in James Cameron's movie, but this will be the real deal.
Definitely, yeah.
It's a different type of experience. It's not like a floating theme park on Titanic. It's more like a floating tribute to honor the lost lives and those that had survived and the era that it stood for. And I think that's a pretty good thing. And I feel like if this becomes a success, hopefully, and I do say hopefully, if Clive Palmer knows what he's doing, and I have good faith he does, we might see the return of a reincarnated Olympic and possibly a reincarnated Britannic. So we'll get the Olympic class back together in our time. Hopefully, if that's what he's going for.
That'd be insane.
A pen, also a pen T1.
So yeah, So, anyways, what are your thoughts about it, Eric? What do you think from your perspective? Because we're just about to wrap this up now. We're about to hit 2:20, the exact time Titanic went underwater. When the stern finally went in about 20 seconds. So, put your
Oh,
final
you mean for
thoughts
my
on
final thoughts on Titanic 2?
Yeah, the new Titanic, as I like to call it. So, bring your
Well,
thoughts to it.
I have the same hopes as you, Kane fan, and I hope this Titanic will be a successful one, and I hope it will turn out to be, a successful one, like what you mentioned.
Indeed, and we've just hit it. 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
That's 2:20. Oh wait, 2:20 is when the vessel finally went under the water, and it would have plunged under 2 miles in less than 2 minutes. I mean, 10 minutes. I meant. So I think we can wrap this one up. I think we don't have to completely nail it.
The front
close,
section
but we
touched down at 2:30.
Yeah. See the sad ruin. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah. Some catchy lines from James Cameron's movie there. I get it.
What do you mean?
Well,
Yeah.
we were just saying the bit where Titanic is still on the ocean floor, and one of the submerged says, like, seeing the sad ruins of the great ship sitting here, coming out like a ghost ship, it still gets to me every time. To see the sad ruins of the ocean liner sitting here, which she landed about 2:30 in the morning on April 15th, 1912, after her long fall.
After a long fall from the world above.
You're so full of crap, boss.
Oh boy, here we go. Now we're cosplaying the lines there. You knew
I love
exactly
that. I love that little snide remark from Mr. Bodine after that.
You can almost imagine. You can almost imagine a ghost of like anything.
So what
well, Titanic does look like a ghost when she comes out of the darkness, almost like a very haunting Sleeping Beauty, you might say.
Yeah, haunting Sleeping Beauty.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say this. I love all the actors' performances in the film, like Bill Paxton and Kate Winslet, Leonardo DiCaprio, Bernard Hill, etc.
Oh God,
Bill
Paxton, Kathy Bates,
Robert De Niro.
No, Bill Paxton. It's the extreme.
Yeah, don't get me in a Twister, dude. I love that movie too. Those Twister and Titanic best movies ever. He was so cool, man.
Thomas?
There's something about Bill Paxton I can't explain. He's just a genius with what he did.
What
I will admit, I mean, Mr. Bodie, who played in Titanic, I thought he was a very intriguing character.
Oh yeah,
and Dusty and Twister. Love that man to death, man. I loved him. He was a good actor too. Actors that you really can hang with, man.
Oh, I forgot. Billy Zane, the guy who played as Cal Hockley, he was in Back to the Future.
Oh God, he's the only actor. He was the only actor in the movie that I just really hated. And spoiler alert, Ash, in my Titanic fanfic movie, Cal Hockley dies in my version, and it's not my
Scott.
And my OC character nearly gets him a couple of times, but spoiler alert, Titanic is the one who delivers the fateful blow instead.
Yeah, but doesn't he die in the original movie anyway? Because I think he committed suicide or something like that.
Yeah, during the Great Depression of 1929. Yeah, but I meant in my version. I killed him off.
I gotta go.
Okay. But in my version, I killed him off a lot earlier because obvious reasons. Titanic acts like a hero, and I used a deleted scene from the sinking of Titanic in Raise Titanic, where there's a deleted scene where the ship's second stack blows up and then it just falls sideways in flames, and that's what kills Hockley in my version. So my version's a little bit different. It kind of sets the sequel for what would happen in the next story, so it all falls into place.
Right.
It kind of is real and kind of fictional at the same time, And in my version, Titanic didn't even go into a, didn't list 9 degrees. It stayed in an upright, like an even keel position right to the very end. So, anyways, I think we'll be near wrapping this one up now. We're almost there. So, again, guys, it's been an honor having you guys back, and again, Eric, it's been good having you on as well. First one to pop in. You've made it to the very end, so you've done it, man.
Thank you, Kane fan. Oh, and also one more thing before we say, I'm just going to say this, another thing, that the Titanic 2 will definitely bring peace to the Titanic legacy itself.
May bring peace as well. It may do so, but it also begins a new chapter. But I also like to think
Yeah.
as we could all agree, I feel like it's basically Titanic having a new lease on life. Like it's just a new body, but the soul of the original. But then again, in my spirit of Titanic series I used to write about, I like to think maybe the original and the predecessor could be sharing the same body, if you get my drift. Like we see in anime. It's like same person but two different personalities wrapped into one.
Definitely.
Almost. That's a bit bizarre, but that's another way of looking at it. But I just feel like it's going to be basically Titanic in a brand new body form. It may look the same in a way. It's just how it is. But it's going to be great. I mean, seeing it come into Southampton for the first time, and of course into New York, that's going to be the historic moment for the entire voyage. To be quite honest, I can imagine the amount of people that will come there to see it happen. I hope we're there to see it. Like, but I got a feeling when they get to the Atlantic bit where Titanic sank, I have a feeling they'll stop there for the night. If they do make it, they'll stop there for maybe until, I don't know, and wait for dawn, drop anchor and wait, and then carry on afterwards, which would be the ultimate act of symbolism of like paying tribute and then continue the journey, if you get my drift.
Yeah, I get your drift.
I think that would definitely be the ultimate symbolism of like, as if this is what happened then, and here we are now, and let's complete that journey. It's like, that's how I'd like to see it.
That kind of reminds me of when in the Clinchfield Curse, when the manager said, "Come on, 311, let's get you let's make you cross the bridge," and I forgot what does he say? Like take the last run together.
Yeah. Let's finish what you
that's the one.
started, and let's finish off what you started for 11 and take that last ride. And he was referring to like, let's do it together. And that's kind of like, like you just said
There it
about
is.
what I said about Titanic, except it's a little different. Like this time I've got a new crew, I've got more modern people, I've got more modern day safety. Let's see if I can actually complete that story 100 and somewhat years later.
Yeah, I was just using it as an example.
Yeah, I can see where you got it from there anyways. Oh, we'll be about roughly 3 minutes before we actually hit the bottom, but I think we can cut it from there. But at least we made it through the 2 hour mark. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I know guys, for all of you watching, I know we kind of drifted a little bit, but it's part of the entertainment thing that we do a lot. So in any cases, it's been great having you guys on. And for those of you who've tuned in and watched, props for you guys for watching it this long. And so for that being said, this is KennyFan701. This wraps up the 112th anniversary stream from 2024 of the RMS Titanic sinking. It's been a pleasure having you on. Until we meet again, another year down the line for the 113th anniversary, if we can get that far, regardless of what happens in the world that we're living in. But, like I said, it's been a pleasure having you on. And with that being said, Godspeed all of you. And here's for the Titanic and the victims that perished and survived. So with that being said,
Bon voyage, everyone.
Bon voyage until we meet again.
Bye-bye.